To have Ville of Villemon.
And I will protect Chica, Piyomon's resolve.
Or to have Digi Eggig that fell to a art. You're welcome.
For DigiNews this week, first up, the Try Tokuban was last night. I haven't watched it and I don't intend to watch the first 5 minutes of Chai Chapter 5.
Tokuban.
Yummy. I just want food. But no, so that...
We get food.
So there's a bunch of news, but I will be on the With the World podcast at normal time. So that's, I believe, Saturday, 2 p.m. Pacific, Australian time, 7 a.m. on Sunday. So Father's Day, I will be on the With the World podcast. So take that, Dad. And so we'll be talking about that in deeper discussions there. I will still not be watching the first 5 minutes of Try because I would like to try and remain fresh for when we actually watch it, which is September 30th. And then I will have to plead Jay to cover it with me. Look,
what do you mean, like, just try Chapter 5?
Yeah.
I'll watch it. I want to know what happens.
Yeah.
Just when the English comes out, don't expect me to be happy.
Yeah, then I'll have to buy you dinner again.
Because that's not fresh, right?
I have to trade food to Jay to make him...
Food for services. Please insert coin to ride.
I have to for extra Digimon, I have to put food into Jay until he says fine.
I require donuts.
Yeah, but you can't book his meal plan.
I require pizza?
Yeah, me too, to be honest. TBH. Oh, no, I require mochi.
You do. We have that, though.
I know, it's so good. I have 3 left and I'm really sad. But I didn't eat them all in one sitting again, so that's an improvement from last time.
Yes, it is.
Anyway, so for LostinTranslationmon, the Try Chapter 2 dub coverage was released Wednesday night, and we're very thankful that Jay let us record, and we're also very thankful that Penguin Mage gave us her digital copy so we could cover it.
Mad at you, Penguin Mage. Mad at you.
Yeah, and Jay also had to... He's mad because we had to cover it. We also did another bit of content, which was the Atmon Ship version 6 unboxing.
Who's we? I'm not putting my name on that.
Okay, it's a we.
You like the Atmon chips.
It's the royal we. And I also did a sort of quick review of the Atmon character CD while I was doing that, just before I did that unboxing, which is also in the same video. It's a really good album. I think everyone should get it. Even Jay likes the songs, so...
I like some of them, yeah.
Jay cared more about the Atmon character songs than the Try character songs.
I think.
Because I don't think you remember anything about any of the Try character songs.
I think Izzy's was funny.
Tentomon's was just talking, and Algamon was about food. I don't actually remember that much either, to be honest.
Hallelujah. Da, da,
Yeah.
da, da,
Gatchmon and Hurries is really cute. Musicmon Astras is great. I really like the Hichu at Center, which is Eri and Dokamon's, and it's really great. But yeah, so we were talking about that. And so do you have any other thoughts about the Atmon character CDs?
I don't have much thoughts about Digimon, honestly, unless I'm reading my notes.
You like Atmon, though?
Yeah, I do. Character songs don't mean anything to me.
They mean a lot to me. Well, you like wrestling. They have character songs.
Yeah, but they're entrance music, right?
Yes, that's what a character song is.
That is not true. They've never played during Atmon, except that like one time where they needed 2 seconds of music.
Oh, I'm sorry, but wrestling is just anime. In a lot of anime, like, they do just play when the character shows up.
Okay, but that's not what happens in Digimon, like, ever.
Sure. No, it happens in Adventure. There are the off-vocal ones would play when the character was doing something.
It's only Matt you're thinking of.
Nope, Mimi and Sora.
It's only
and
Matt.
Izzy.
Lies.
Fight me on this.
They're all lies.
And when Taichi's about to be hit in the chest with the arrow, his character song starts playing in the background, but it's the on-vocal one. You like Taichi?
Yeah, but I think it'd be much more interesting if you died.
Anyway, moving on. Thanks to Mionumon on Twitter for noticing the description for episode 117. I had the wrong episode numbers, so I fixed that, so that's all fine. That wasn't in the actual episode, that was just in the description. So it was an easy, quick fix that I could do.
What if we just somehow covered the wrong episodes? Like, we rocked up to a show and it's like, yes, Savers episode, Cross Wars episode 34. And 35. This is what we're doing today.
Evil shows his face. That's an adventure episode.
I thought that was somehow the name of a Cross Wars episode as well. That's
I wouldn't
amazing.
be surprised. I don't know. I can't wait to Cross Wars. I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Cross
it'll be
Evil
anger.
Show crosses his cross face.
Cross faces reacts only.
Is the main bad guy Seth Rollins because he's Captain CrossFit?
Oh my gosh. Anyway, and the last bit of Lost News Lately, Mon, is that we got like a note from the script script thanks to A.R. Pulver.
Yeah, so the script had something to say.
And it was, Dear May and Jay, how dare you blame me for all of this? I know all. Love from the script. And it was part of Jeff Nimoy's contribution to a charity auction at the con that A.R. Pulver was running.
Super nice.
That's super nice. It was the other part of the contribution was the script for the English episode 1 of Savers.
Do you think part of that contribution was the note to us?
I like to think so.
Yeah. And they get that, and like, what's this note? I don't get it. Who are these people who worked on the show?
Who's May and Jay? I hope they Google us.
But then they wouldn't find anything.
Look, I'm pretty sure if you Google May and Jay, like, we're probably the only May and Jays in history, right? To do something.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that you'd find Lost in Translation on the first page of that.
Well, we're going to do a special live
Please
show.
do. I'm really curious.
Well, maybe I should have done incognito because I'm.
Now you're ruining
Oh
it.
no, there's something actually called the May and Jay show.
Oh, ruined!
Oh,
It's not us!
wrecked, and some things about Beyonce and Jay-Z. Okay,
Lol.
that's sad.
Wow, annihilated.
Who May and Jay? That's copyrighted material there, my friend.
Absolutely killed.
And on to Obnoxious Synopsis. The first episode that we're watching this week is called Recover the Bond Between Parent and Child, Evilmon's Bewitchment, or The Vial of Vilemon. What do you think will happen in this episode?
There will be a Vilemon that shows up. Parent and Child sounds like Sayuri and Chica, probably. So there'll be some kind of wedge driven in there. Mm-hmm. And yeah, Evilmon's gonna do an evil.
Well, yeah. Well, I guess Vilemon in the dub is his name.
No, it's evil. Just misspelled.
Clearly. I mean, it is kind of like... It is got the same letters and stuff, so... Yeah.
So it's basically the same word.
Do you think anything will annoy you in this episode?
I think that the ongoing filler is going to really annoy me, and I'm sick of it.
Are you done with the filler?
Yes, I'm really, really over it.
Do you think it'll be a good episode?
No.
What rating?
5.
Filler or not filler?
Filler, yeah.
The second episode we're watching this week is called I Will Protect Chica, Biomon's Resolve, or The Digi-Egg That Fell to the Earth. What do you think will happen in this episode?
So, I tend to think that there will be a Biomon. If you learned anything from Agumon, this Biomon is going to be unnecessarily large. Also, I don't think that the Digi-Egg is going to be Biomon's. I think that might be unrelated, because Biomon will probably just show up like everyone else does through portals, and the egg itself will be a mystery they have to address, and maybe we'll actually get onto the story finally.
Do you think anything will annoy you?
It's weirdly focused on Chica, this little sister character. She's strangely important.
Well, she means she's in the dub. She's voiced by Rika, so...
So what? She only gets paid $100 million. That's why Digimon Idol can't afford to continue. I get jokes.
So just before we get into the other questions, do you have, like, what do you think Chica has to do with this, or don't you know?
I don't really know if she has anything to do with the overarching plot. I just think that she's weirdly central to, like, Digimon hanging out.
Do you think it'll be a good episode?
Sure.
What rating?
Look, if we assume the plot's going to begin, let's call it a 7 and be optimistic.
Oh, that's very optimistic. That's good, though. A 7's a solid one. Filler or not filler?
It will not be.
Okay, cool. So we think we're finally into the plot?
I hope so.
That's good.
Like episode 12?
Yeah, episode 12.
You should be onto your plot finally, when people have been watching for 4 hours.
Well, in Adventure, we've just defeated Devimon.
Yeah, the plot just started, I guess, huh?
Yeah, but that was a relatively quick arc. Any other predictions for both these episodes?
I predict that I'm tired.
Me too. You're always tired. You'll be tired when
That's
we're recording
my
this
secret.
episode.
I'm always tired.
All right, on to the show.
The continuity will be there because I'll be tired anyway.
You're always tired, though. That's not fair. So we'll be covering both these episodes as one episode this week, because the first episode, while it's more or less kind of like the same sort of filler we've been having these past couple of episodes, the end of the episode actually leads into episode 12. So we'll be covering episode 11 and 12 as one episode.
Sure, why not?
Also because we're running a bit stripped for time, because we're starting a bit later than usual.
I'm going to die.
So we've got 2 reasons for it, but I think that it sort of does trail in enough that it's legitimate to have them as one episode.
I've discovered that I need coffee. I'm not going to do that though, because I have self-control.
Jay, why are you running out of the room?
I
Jay,
don't have
take him
self-control
back.
at all.
Okay, anyway, so Toma and Satsuma are discussing something that Toma is investigating. Toma is asking for time off, and then Toma flies to America. Then we see Masaru looking mad, and he's saying that he's mad that Toma is on break in America, and Agumon asks what America is.
Is it tasty? Nom nom nom.
Masaru doesn't reply, and Lalamon says she wanted to go too, to the sunny west coast.
What if you told Agumon that everything in America is deep fried?
He'd be on the next plane.
Exactly.
He wouldn't be even as a passenger. I think he'd just get into an airport somehow and attach himself to a plane. I'm coming.
He'd be like, his jaw would be fastened to the wing. And he'd be like, "Ah."
He'd eat the
And
plane.
then there'd be a dude who's like looking out the window and goes, "Stewardess, there's a lizard on the wing."
I think we just found, I think Gremlins was a real story, but it took place in the Digimon universe.
Gremlins is a movie.
Gremlins is a movie that took place in the Digimon universe,
No,
Jay.
it didn't.
I'm pretty sure that was Agumon on the wing.
Are you telling me that Digimon are Chinese?
I don't get it.
Because the old Chinese man is the one who gives them the gremlin.
I don't remember anything about that movie.
You've not seen it, have you?
The movie with the gremlin on the wing, the Twilight Zone.
No, I mean the movie called Gremlins. There's a movie, Don't Feed Them After Midnight.
I have seen the movie when I was a kid, probably.
It's a Christmas movie, you'll love it.
It's not a good movie to show children, but it's a movie.
I thought you liked Christmas.
Sorry, I thought you were referencing Twilight Zone because of On the Wing of the Planet.
I was initially, but now I'm talking about Gremlins. The movie Gremlins, which has Hulk Hogan in the second one.
Man, we should watch it then.
We should.
I know it plays often at the Astor.
Yeah, it's a sick double feature. I'd watch that again.
I've definitely not seen the second one. I think I might have seen the first one.
Second one's ridiculous. It's absurd.
That's probably why I haven't seen it then. My parents don't like me watching things that are weird or don't make sense or that aren't good.
It's probably good. It's dumb.
And I just want to say that I kind of like how Agumon doesn't know what America is, but Lalamon does, because Agumon is fairly new to the real world. But Lalamon, we don't know at the moment how long she's been at the real world for.
Probably ages.
But yeah, we can imagine it might be ages. Like, she seems to know a lot about Yoshino, and they seem to be quite close.
Well, Yoshi's like a veteran.
I mean, we do find out how long they've been together later on.
Do we know how long?
Would that be a spoiler if I
I
told
don't know.
you?
Does it matter? What's the spoil? Is there a twist that's associated with it?
Okay, I think it might be since she was a little kid.
What?
I feel
Has
like...
been
but I
around
might
for
be
like
wrong.
15 years?
I feel like she might have been quite young when she showed up, but I might be wrong.
Or like 7 years at least?
All I remember is there is a scene where we see her as a child, but I can't remember if that's connected or not, because I did watch all of these episodes in like the space of like a couple of days in university.
Wow, you really had no life in university. No wonder you hung out with me.
And then this was first years before I met you.
I mean, eventually. It's not like you gain a life.
And I managed to get 100% on everything in first year because it was just so easy. Because it was things I taught myself when I was a kid.
Nice, baby. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
You did the wrong music just
No,
then.
it's not. It's from Rice Baby, the Weird Al Yankovic one.
Oh, okay.
I know what I'm doing.
Apparently.
No
so-
one sees rice coming.
Agumon asks again what America is, and he asks if it's tasty. In the dub, he asks if you can eat it. I guess that's sort of like similar enough.
You can try.
And in both versions, of course, Lalamon wants to go to the sunny west coast.
Can you eat the president?
Well, he's an orange. No, he's a bomb. In the original version, he's a bomb.
Oh, that's not good.
Miki and Megumi come by with some sweets from Kyoto, and Yoshino says she's heard of them before because there's like this famous temple and they do these amazing manju, and she's really, really happy that she finally gets to have some because the wait's so long, and they said they've been there since 5 a.m.
Okay, so this scene is weird because if you think about it, they just walked in? Because they have the box with them. It is implied by the fact that Agumon has eaten them all, that they've walked in, set the box down, stopped looking at it for a while, then turned back. Agumon has put the box lid back on and also put the wrapping back on because there's like a band across it. And then they've brought it over.
Yes.
And it's lighter now and they haven't noticed. And now, hey guys, look what we brought.
Yeah, I don't think Miki and Megumi are necessarily super intelligent.
I don't think they're very bright. If we assume that everything I just said is what happened, because
Yeah.
that's the simplest answer to all of this making sense. Let's see, ate it in front of them and they're blind.
Probably, look, could you blame Agumon just like, he
nom,
probably just managed to inhale the manju through the package.
He's you.
He is. He's a little
One of
dinosaur
these
gremlin.
mochi. You couldn't tell the difference.
No, I can't tell the difference between them. You're the one who can't.
No, we were walking towards the shop and you were like, mochi, manju. I can't remember what the difference is.
I can describe it, but I can't say the actual like ingredients.
I have no idea. I have no idea at all.
I know I could if someone gave me like a blindfold and forced me to eat manju and then mochi.
And then you'd say thank you.
Yeah, first of all, I'd say thank you.
Who are you? But also, no, I'll take.
But I could tell the difference because remember, manju is the stuff that I had in Japan. I bought in a little gift box and it was really nicely wrapped. And I said, I'm going to use this gift box to give my parents a present, but I'm going to eat the manju inside it.
So the girls say they're going to beat up Agumon. Who's
I don't know. a bit before that, sorry. So in the original, when Yoshino is saying that she's heard of this manju before, and she says, oh, they're from a very famous temple in Kyoto, in the dub, Yoshi explains what manju are because they call it manju, and I was actually surprised they didn't just call them jelly donuts or something.
Well, it'd be difficult.
Yeah, so they call them what they are, which is manju. But of course, because Westerners may not know what manju is, like, did you know what manju was before this episode?
I still don't really know what manju is.
It's very nice. So manju explains that they're steamed sweet buns, which I guess, like...
I'm glad that manju explains that.
No, Yoshi explains in the dub. And, I guess they're more or less what they are. I wouldn't have defined them as that, but I guess they're steamed. Basically just put stuff in a thing, and then you put stuff... It's like ravioli.
It's a pasta?
No, it's like... I'm just saying it. The closest thing I can connect it to is ravioli.
Not a dumpling?
Oh, I guess I could say dumpling. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I was just thinking about ravioli because I really like pasta.
Oh, can we get ravioli now?
Okay, we'll get ravioli and manju.
Right now?
If I can find manju, I'll be very happy, but I looked everywhere and I couldn't even find mochi, which, like, I'm happy with.
Okay.
So I actually appreciate this change because I guess in the original, like, Japanese people would understand, the significance of these are very special, rare, like, popular manju that's from a temple, and in the dub what's important is that we explain what manju is because the whole episode is based around manju and it'd be hard kind of just to change this one thing that may be changing the whole episode. So they explain it and I'm fine with that change because would you have known what manju is when you were young?
No.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I would have, but
I still don't know what they are now.
I'm a bit of a weeb.
Wow.
Boy, am I. So it's also especially Anko manju, which is also explained, which is delicious, because red bean, and red bean's the best. Yeah. And we find out the box is empty.
Mochi.
Okay, I thought you didn't like it, but alright.
I haven't tried the red bean one. I don't know, maybe I'll like it this time.
Okay, yeah, okay, we'll have some mochi after this. How's that? Okay. Alright, so the box is empty, because Agumon ate it all. He made you some manju, but he eated it.
I love his face. He's just like, oh, that? I ate that already. That's cool. Because he doesn't know what manju are. He's just like, oh yeah, that was food. It's gone now.
Yeah.
He's so proud of himself.
Yeah, he's like, oh, they weren't bad. They were a little bit small, but that's fine.
That's alright. There were like 12 of them though, so I ate all that. Thanks.
Yeah, so in both versions he's like, yeah, it was tasty, but they're very small. And it's really nice because he doesn't lie about it, but what he does do is he immediately says, Aniki, we'll solve this for me.
Or the crime of the employees, the crime of the boss. Which is actually an almost accurate a piece of legal advice called ostensible authority. And it's similar to that, actually.
Mm.
Or, ostensible authority is part of it. And vicarious liability. That's it. He knows all that vicarious liability, apparently. This lizard does.
He doesn't know what America is, but he knows what, workplace law is.
Apparently.
Basically,
if you walk into a shop and the guy behind the counter punches you in the face, you can sue the shop, not just the person. It's awesome.
Well, I'll remember that for next time I get punched in the face when I walk into a shop.
Yep, exactly.
Apparently it just happens all the time to Masaru. That's probably why Agumon knows this.
I think it's because he's going out punching them first.
Good point.
They're like, hi, how are you today? Punch! What was that for? You looked at me funny.
I just wanted to fight.
You want to be friends?
I just wanted to fight.
I want to fight and make friends. Why would you make friends this way? It's worked for me every other time.
That's just how Masaru says hello.
Yeah. Do you think that there's like 15 people he beat up in the first episode knew that he wanted to be friends?
Maybe. I really like Masaru as a character because he's like a little bit annoyed for like a second about Agumon shifting to him. He's like, wait, why me? And then like he immediately switches over to cool guy Masaru.
I know a guy. Don't worry about it. I'll fix this entirely. Chill out. And then speaking of really cool, violent Masaru, he goes over and like the Yakuza are threatening the shop owner that I guess he knows the son of. Mm. And Masaru just walks up and goes, hey guys, I'm looking for a bakery. Well, bam! And just like body slams one of the Yakuza.
Yeah, he's just like this big tough guy who's just like, I'm just going to beat up some Yakuza members because why not?
So here's the thing, right? In Digimon, this is okay. In a kid's show, it's alright for be like, oh yeah, okay, violence has been used. We will leave and come back later. However, in real life, this is where the guns come out.
Yeah.
Or this is where alright, we'll be here at 3 a.m. to burn your bakery down. Now that things have escalated.
But to be fair, in real life, you don't have a dinosaur that breathes fire.
They don't know about that. It's in his Digivice. He just body slams them himself.
Also, have you realized that all of a sudden Agumon's better at staying in the Digivice?
It's plot convenient, yeah.
But I feel like maybe I feel like they could have added a scene of like the Masaru and Agumon finally talking about, hey, look, you're annoying everyone. Can you just maybe get on the Digivice sometimes? But I do like that Agumon seems to just let himself out whenever. Like Lalamon and Galmon are very good with the realize. They only come out when they're realized. Agumon just kind of comes out whenever he wants, and he talks whenever he wants. He's great. I love him.
Such a good dog.
He's a very good dog for a giant lizard that breathes fire. Then we see that he has his friend is quite nerdy for someone you would expect Masaru to be friends with. But I think Masaru is like kind of like a really adorable person in general anyway. And he really reminds me of the main character from Love Hina, and they even have similar sort of names, by which I mean they both start with K. So in Love Hina, it's Keitaro, and in this, it's Kochiro, which I'm probably pronouncing terribly because it's a very difficult. If Japanese is hard, and I'm bad at pronouncing things.
It doesn't seem like the kind of guy who'd be Masaru's friend.
In the dub, it's easy to pronounce. It's Connor.
Because he doesn't look like a guy who'd put up much of a fight.
Yeah, but I feel like Masaru would only want to be friends with people who would put up a fight, right?
Yeah, exactly. So why is he friends with this weirdo?
I think he's like protects him from the bullies.
Probably. I love that the bullies always think they can take Masaru because the only reason that is because we haven't seen it yet. But now that we've established he can fight Digimon hand to hand, like it's so weird that there are gangs of bullies who know of him who think they can take him. He's a god. He's fought that Yakuza guy who was like twice his size.
Yeah, and he beat up all the guys at the boxing training gym.
I come to the conclusion at the end of the next episode, spoilers, that Masaru might be my favourite protagonist.
I love him so much. Didn't I say that? I think it was in one of our first Digimon episodes. I said, don't worry, in one of the seasons, there's a character who just punches Digimon, and you said, can we just watch that instead? I think that was your entire thing. And
you know what? As much as I don't really enjoy watching Digimon, it's better than what we were watching.
Well, there was some adventure that was fine.
Yeah, it was better.
I feel like Adventure is better than Frontier, probably. I'm not just saying that because of nostalgia, because I have lots of nostalgia for Frontier.
Fair enough.
Frontier had better ideas. Anyway, so back to the season of Digimon we're actually covering. So Connor tells Masaru that they're not making any more manju since they got famous, and his mum got sick and his dad lost motivation and kind of got a bit depressed. Masaru wants to help, and Agumon says something, which Masaru says was just him thinking aloud. In the dub, he says it's his ringtone. We find out the dad is looking for money and things to sell, and he's looking mainly for wall scrolls. In the dub, it is old paintings.
That's a really fair translation.
Yeah, and that's completely legitimate. Like, wall scrolls, like, it doesn't sound like something that would be expensive.
No, you know what it does sound like?
What?
Pulls out his big Love Live wall scroll. This is perfect!
No, it's like a Death Note and screaming.
Ah!
I can't look.
But it's nothing like that. Why would you bring that up?
I just really wanted
to. You just remembered it.
I just remembered it because it's really funny. Look, apparently the movie's absolutely awful.
Oh, can we do Lost in Translation notes?
Can we only watch the Netflix version? And just instead of
compared to the English?
Instead of actually compared to the original, I guess maybe. But instead of like actually
the original's like 47
recording
episodes.
Anything, we just scream into the microphone for half
an hour.
Let's never
do that.
That's all I'm understanding is the movie. Like that's all I've seen of the movie, so that's apparently all that happens, right? Anyway, so some Devimon show up with a Valmon, and in the dub, Valmon talks and says, "Listen to your new master," as he zaps him with some pink eye juice, which we later find out he's giving him visions of the winning horse numbers. But in the dub, I think they're making him appear to be under some kind of mind control spell. In fact, later on in the episode, they even say he's under a spell.
I can see why they would get that impression, what with all the big glowy purple stuff.
Yeah.
But
Valmon did nothing wrong, really.
Well, I mean, Valmon was what's the word I'm looking for? Was part of like helping him cheat at gambling, which is not cool. Okay, so let's just talk about this gambling for a bit, right? Because this is a really core theme of the episode, which is about greed, and specifically that gambling is evil. Okay, gambling is totally evil, except the only thing that's actually evil in this show is the dad won't let it go. That won't like quit while he's ahead. Because if he were to have stopped when the kids found out about the Valmon statue thing...
Yeah?
Oh no, when he shows up in the car and they go, "Are you done now?" And if he said yes, then all of the cheating would have been worth it.
Yeah.
Everything would have been fine.
He would have had the money, he would have had the car.
And he would have had his son, and he goes back to his business because they're not worried about the bills anymore.
And he obviously, at this point, has some extra cash. Like, it's not just like, oh, good, I just have enough to open up the shop and pay off the debts and pay for the medical bills. It's just like he has extra for a car and to just give to his son and his friend who he's probably never met before.
Like, oh god, I had something to say. Yeah, I was really convinced, like, the whole time that like he'd screw up and he'd like gamble up and he'd get all this money and then be like, yeah, I'll put it all on black, and like he loses and then he's dead broke, and then the Yakuza show up and like, where's our money? He's like, but I just had it, and that was gonna be the whole story, but it wasn't. He just got really, really rich, and you know what would have solved the entire problem at the end where all his money gets burned?
Yeah.
A bank.
Well, actually, the thing with banks is that I think they a lot of the time rely on credit cards and they don't really use credit cards as much.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I mean, if you have a lot of money,
I guess
you take it to the bank and you give it to them to hold for you.
They do in Japan. They do tend to use cash more than anything else. So I think having cash around will be useful. We don't actually know how much cash he has.
He had enough cash, at least, to buy a car. Speaking of which, I just thought about this. Because at the end, you're like, oh no, all the money's gone. What do we do now? Oh, I guess you go back to baking. He has at least some assets he bought, such as that car, right?
Yeah.
So he probably will go after this experience, oh, I probably don't need this car. I can sell this, and now I'll have money and a bakery.
Right.
So what I'm saying is that...
He should have quit while he's ahead, but that's the story in every... No. But in every gambling thing, it's quit before you...
No, what I'm saying is that he's actually profited from this, and cheating at gambling was awesome.
Except for the time where everything was burnt down.
Yeah, but that was only because a big Digimon started fighting.
Yeah, he could have just kept it... If he was better at hiding it from Masaru...
Yeah. Also, a bunch of the money was on fire, right? But he was also holding, like, 2 big stacks of it in his hands.
Uh-huh.
And then it cuts away and it cuts back, and now he's not holding them anymore and it's all burned.
Also, he might have dropped them because the script said, hey, drop them now.
And what I'm really trying to get at, right? Because it's a scene that's coming up very shortly, but I want to say it because it's important. If gambling is super evil, and that's what the whole show is about, don't have a scene where you as the audience, what it's showing you is designed to make you go, come on, cheat properly. Come on, Devimon, hit the right horse, make him win. I want you to cheat. Because what would happen? Because you don't want him to lose, because he'll have his bakery taken away. It's not worth it.
See, what I kind of sort of expected to happen, because I couldn't actually remember anything about this episode, is that at one point maybe Devimon stuffs up and hits the wrong horse, but the dad has put all his money on this horse and he just loses literally everything, and then he gets cross and maybe he like knocks over the Vilemon and then the Vilemon attacks him.
I actually think that would way better. Just like he thinks that he can do everything. I'm the god of gambling. It's not, you're giving me luck, but actually I'm amazing at gambling. So screw you. I'm gonna go do this on my own.
Yeah. Maybe my idea is just better. Maybe I should work for Digimon.
Yeah.
Hire me.
You're doing my thing. That's my bit. Or you rewrite the episode because the script sucks.
I still thought this was a fine episode though, at least.
Look, it's okay. It's frustrating because there's so many elements of it where if you thought about it for like 6 seconds, I'm like, oh, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's okay. I guess the script knows all. Damn script, I'll get you one day.
Then we see that Mickey and Megumi are waiting for Masaru to get back, and they get a Digimon signal, and Yoshino goes out to patrol. In the dub, Yoshi, there's like this added in line where Yoshi says it's probably best for Mickey and Megumi to lay off the snacks anyway.
They're just complaining about snacks while they're at work instead of working while stuff's going on. Back
to Masaru and his friend. Connor says his dad must be off to gamble again because he has turned to gambling for money.
The kid actually goes, that was the money for the bills.
Yeah, which is kind of like, oh yeah, that's right, your mum's really sick. And it's not actually said if the mum gets better in the original. It's said in the dub that she gets better.
I just forgot about that part.
Yeah.
I just assumed she was dead.
No, she just got... we usually want to say, oh yeah, mum got sick and we had to do something. It's usually, oh, the mum died. But in this is kind of like, in the dub, they say, oh, mum's medical bills are all paid for and now she can recover and she can get better now. And in the original, just not mentioned. I think she just might have died in the original.
So Yoshi shows up in her car, gets out, goes, Masaru, what are you doing? And Masaru's like, get in the car, we're going immediately. It's a good thing she showed up for no reason. And they chase after the taxi.
Just before Yoshi shows up. In the dub, Connor says he's running off with the money for medical bills and he's hoping that his dad isn't going to give it to the thugs. And there's no mention of gambling. So this is instead of him saying, oh, I guess dad's going to go off to gamble again. It's him saying, oh, I hope he's not giving them to the thugs. And I guess they try to remove the mention of gambling a lot in this episode because it's not really something you do in Western culture. I mean, it is a illegal in Japanese culture, I'm pretty sure. That's why pachinko exists, because you're
How
not...
could it be illegal if there's a big horse track they're showing? Horse tracks are big public
No,
spaces.
I think it's like... I think gambling in, like, arcades is illegal.
Yeah, the pachinko machines are hilarious, right?
Like, you trade in for, like, a horse, and then, like, you give, like, a toy horse, and then you go down the street, and you give the toy horse, and someone says, I will give you $50 for that.
No,
it's just a trading
It's very
system.
similar.
No, no, this is what it is.
No, but you don't even get the toy. I don't think it's the horse. It's the little metal balls, and the little metal balls aren't currency. It just so happens that down the street there is that place that buys the little metal balls.
Yeah, or you give it to like the prize stand, and the place down the street takes the prize stand things for money.
I hadn't heard about that part.
I was listening to a podcast about gambling in Japan. It was very interesting.
Pachinko's dumb.
I do want to go to pachinko just to say that I've done it.
Yeah, it felt really distasteful because there's things you want to do because to say you've done it. All right, I stood on a particular rooftop. That's interesting, but then there's just like you're looking at that needle of heroin and you're like, I'm not really sure this is an experience that will enrich my life.
No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do anything that would actually like harm me.
Have you seen people who play pachinko?
Yeah, they're all like middle-aged Japanese men smoking.
The thing that's really depressing is I watched a video where it was a cut together, but of people playing the Snake Eater one for an hour.
Oh, that thing you were super mad about.
I'm really upset that it even exists. And they were like, the video's really nice, but like you play it for an hour and you get nowhere and it's not fun because pachinko's not fun.
So yeah, Yoshi shows up and yeah, Masaru gets in the car, but I'm pretty sure in the dub it's implied that Marcus is driving.
I never got. Oh, I guess
because Yoshi says, "Wherever you're taking us, it better be a bakery." And there's a bit later on.
You could say that someone who's directing you from the passenger seat would be taking you somewhere.
I know, but I don't know. And then there's another line in the next scene, which was Yoshi says, "Why did we come here?" And Marcus replies with, "It was where Connor's dad parked." I don't know. It just seems like they're implying that Masaru drove.
That second part, yeah, it sounds more like it.
Because she doesn't know like anything about where they are, and I don't know. It just seems like he drove.
Whatever. He's 14. He can do that.
Can he?
Is he 15?
He's 14.
12?
He's 14. No, he's not. He's
8?
Not 12. He's 14. Oh yeah, he's 8.
I
Masaru's an
can't tell
8-year-old.
with Digimon. They're all the same age.
This 8-year-old beats up the Yakuza, yeah.
Yeah, isn't this 8-year-old the same age as the kids in Try?
What?
Is Masaru the same age as the kids in Try?
Taichi, I believe, is 17.
Oh my god, okay, he's way older.
Masaru is as old as Haru.
They're not fighting the Yakuza.
And Chika is 8, I think. Anyway, we see that Toma visits the professor and is scanning people's brainwaves. Brave waves. They're also brave waves. Then we see that Masaru and Yoshino have followed the car and are now at the racetrack. And we see that the dad is chanting out the numbers that Demi Devimon and Valmon gave him. And then we see that the Demi Devimon are set out and they start attacking the horses. In the dub, I thought that they had the same voice actors in Adventure, but I looked it up and they don't. They just have a very similar voice, and I think it's a pretty good impression. Maybe they couldn't get the original voice actor back.
But why would they, right? Because it's not like they have a thing where they're committed to getting the same voice actors.
Yeah.
See the next episode.
What do you mean?
Piyomon's voice in English.
Oh yeah, I don't like Piyomon's voice in English.
Like, they don't care. They do not care about the voices sounding the same.
Yeah. Also, to be fair, it's a male Piyomon. It's a different Piyomon.
There's no male and female. All Digimon non-gendered anyway.
This Piyomon gets male pronouns. This is a canonically male Piyomon. It's even said in the original version that this is a male Piyomon. And
That's super dumb.
And the Piyomon in Adventure was a girl, and this is a male Piyomon.
Thanks, Tamers, for not being canon. Woo!
It's only in Tamers that is stated. It's never actually stated in any other season, I'm
pretty
sure.
That Tamers isn't real and didn't happen. It was just a fever dream that we all collectively experienced.
Because we wanted a better season of Digimon.
After 02, we all fell into a coma.
That's the real coma theory. The coma theory that the entire Digimon fandom's been in the past 15 years. In the dub, I'm pretty sure
not real.
I'm pretty sure they added an announcer to the racetrack in the dub. I don't remember it being there in the original.
Yeah, there was absolutely an announcer. That's how I know that the horse's name is Kaiser Leona.
That is fantastic.
Because I complained, and I go, oh man, in Japan, do horses not have weird, cool names? Are they just numbered like 5, 6, and 8? And it's like, number 5, Kaiser Leona! I'm like, oh cool, it's got a name.
Cool. Lalamon says she senses a Digimon, but it's weak, and Ogamon's hungry because he's Ogamon. The dad wins and the Demi Devimon leave. Masaru says that he has to stay because Yoshino wants to go back, and Masaru says, no, I made a promise to my friend. In the dub, and I'm in two minds about this change. He says, no, I made a promise to Miki and Megumi.
Yeah, he should have no loyalty to them.
Yeah. So instead of being like loyal to his friend who we don't know how long they've known each other and we've never seen him before, but we can establish like that they're pretty good friends if they're able to confide in each other like this. Then Miki and Megumi have always seemed like a little bit of an annoyance to Masaru, right?
Pretty much. Yeah, they're annoying co-workers. You know the type.
I don't have any. All my coworkers are fantastic.
Really?
Back at DATS, Lalamon is still saying that she felt a Digimon. Satsuma tells Yoshino to patrol the sector where the signal first showed up. Then we see that Connor's dad is praying to the Valmon statue and says that he wants the power once again.
So this is a power that Digimon have never had before and will probably never have again.
Well, Valmon has it. And also, this Valmon is a lot bigger than the one we saw in Tamers. Which,
Really?
remember the one that Gilmon called Tiny? It was about the size of Gilmon. This one's...
Gilmon's huge. What are you talking about?
Gilmon's like the size of Agumon, right?
No. I mean, about the size of this Agumon, yeah. He was tall. He was as tall as Takato, at least, right? So he was the size of a person. Whereas this Vilemon is half the size of a person.
Okay.
It's a statue.
Good point. I thought he was a lot bigger than he was.
But yeah, the ability to turn into a statue is new.
I like it. I feel like it provides something I was about to complain on. I guess we'll get into it now. There is a part where after the fight where they say, why couldn't we detect him? He was right next to us the entire time. Like Agumon should have been able to detect him, and they say he was in sleep mode and the signal was weaker.
I'm literally about to say that, and I know that you say I like that because it explains why he was a statue. What I'm saying is this entire thing is a new ability we'll probably never see again.
No, I think
turning into a statue to be sleep mode.
I think it's just Vilemon's ability.
No, I don't think so. They would say Vilemon can go into a dormant state, not just he was in a dormant state, right? For example, if somebody jumped, right, and you were trying to tell me only that person in the history of the world has been on jump, you wouldn't just say he jumped.
Okay,
You'd say, look at him.
Fair.
He is able to jump. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
It's Unikyu.
Okay, I think I see your point.
Thank you. I'm glad.
Anyway, so he goes off to gamble again, and we get this montage of him gambling a bunch, and he's winning. He's winning a lot.
Looks all totally worth it. You should cheat at gambling. It's sick.
Yeah, this episode gives the wrong message.
Then he shows up in a convertible, and he's like, "Hey."
Oh no! Before that, he's calling the god of fortune, but in the dub, he's calling it master. And there's again no mention of the word gamble, but I'm pretty sure it's mentioned quite a bit in the dub.
Yeah, the dub throws around the word master a bit too often, because I remember when the devil balls were all throwing their needles around when the one was telling them what to do, they like the other two go, "Oh yes, master," and then they call Vilemon that, and then he calls Vilemon and them that, and it's like, how can everyone be everyone else's master at the same time?
Anyway, then Masaru is speaking to Koichiro, and he says that his dream is to run the Japanese sweet store, but he's given up. Masaru says that he shouldn't have to give up. In the dub, and this is a really weird change, Connor seems more sad about his dad not working at the bakery than his own dream of working at the bakery.
Well, I mean, they are connected, to be fair. Yeah. If his dad isn't working there, then he can't have his dream at all either, and also, they won't be able to pay the bills.
And yeah, you were going to say about the dad showing up in convertible?
So he's like, "What up, losers? Here's some money. Go have some fun, because I'm busy gambling." And the kid's just completely spineless. And he's like, "Do you remember how cool baking is?" Dad's like, "Nah, you're crap, son. Bye. I forgot I even have a wife."
And in the dub, Connor asks him if he's going through a midlife crisis.
No, I'm going through I've never had more money than this in my life crisis. Yeah, but like, he's just such a dick.
So Ko tells him to stop gambling, Masaru tells him to make more manju. In the dub, Connor says that they should save it in case his mum gets sick again. So they're saying again, because I guess they're trying to say, oh, the mum has fully recovered, which is what we were talking about before, in the way that I don't think the original actually addresses what's happened to the mum. But in the dub, she's fine. They're worried she'll get sick again. That implies that she's not currently sick at the moment.
That's why she's not ever shown even like telling him slightly, "Hey, chill out with this gambling nerd."
Yeah. Then we have the scene, this is like the second time we've got this scene in this series so far, and they're sitting by a river, and I'm pretty sure it's the exact same one as we saw Toma and Hayase talking about like 2 episodes ago.
I don't feel like they were by a river. I think they were just on a hill.
It just looks very similar.
That's okay. There's lots of these places in Japan. You see infinite of them.
Yeah. Masaru is talking to his friend, and his friend's really passionate about making manju, and he's basically saying, "Oh, this is how you make it, and this is my dream, and this is what I've always wanted to do, and I want to make manju." In the dub, Connor says he wants to work side by side his father, and this is a weird change because in the original he wants to take over. He wants it to become his business. He wants to do it himself. But it's weird that the dub would just make it work side by side with my father.
What would you call an Oedipus complex where instead of whatever it normally is, instead it's you kill your dad and you take his bakery? Is it a gingerbread man complex?
I was trying to come up with a pun, but I'm just too tired. A rye complex? I don't know.
What?
That's the only bread I can think of in short notice.
That was really awful.
Come back to me in 2 weeks.
The whole grain complex.
White bread complex? Anyway, he also says how people like it when you make it shaped like a bird. And I'm pretty sure in the original it's because their name is Shiritori, and tori means bird.
Chicken. It does, doesn't it?
I'm pretty sure it just means bird in general, but I guess you can mean chicken, but I'm pretty sure it also just means bird.
But like,
I think it's just an umbrella.
yakitori? Doesn't
Yeah,
that mean...
that means chicken.
Aha!
But
Aha!
but I'm pretty
I know things!
Look, I'm pretty sure it's just an umbrella term for bird.
Chicken's a bird.
Yeah, well, yes, that's why it's used for that.
Also means chicken.
I mean, we have a friend who calls KFC Dirty Bird. Okay, yes.
Dirty bird!
I have looked it up. Tori means bird and can be used to refer to bird meat, especially chicken meat.
Yes, that means I'm correct.
But no, it means bird.
That means I'm 100% correct and I'm not wrong at all.
But no, so yeah, it means bird. So it's I didn't actually look at the kanji for the character's name, but he might be bird shaped because his name is shitty bird. I don't know what shiri means, but yeah, I think that's why it wasn't the original. Which is, I think if you were fluent in Japanese, it would be obvious that was the reason. But I'm not fluent in Japanese, so it might not even be the reason.
So Masaru just asked him some really basic questions like, "Has your dad been hanging out anywhere weird lately or doing anything strange?" "Oh, he's been in the shed a lot. Haven't really asked any questions about it because I'm not a curious person." And Masaru's like, "Oh, see you, bye. I'm gonna go punch a Digimon."
No, sorry, just before he goes to punch a Digimon, which is basically his life goal at this point. Masaru remembers his dad and touches his necklace silently. But in the dub, he says, "I don't even know my dad." I'm just like, geez, Marcus, well, way to bring your problems up into this completely unrelated problem. Keep your problems out of this, buddy. So yeah, he brings up his problems in the dub. So yes, then Masaru goes to punch a Digimon. Do you want to continue, Jay?
So he shows up and he sees the shrine, I guess you'd call it, and he goes up to it and he flicks it, right? And it goes, and it flinches and moves a little bit. And he's so stupid that even hearing it and seeing the movement, he goes, "Agumon, why did you make a noise? That's so weird." And Agumon's like, "Well, it's not me." And then he goes, "Oh, well, it must be the statue," and realizes it. My favorite, though, is in the English when he comments, "Hey, statues don't sweat."
Yeah.
Because he's got the big sweat drop on it.
Which, can you visibly see that, I guess, in anime?
Apparently, it's, totally legit. Apparently, that's exactly what's happening. So he's readying up, and then the dad shows up, and he's like, "Whoa, you stay away from my god of good fortune." And this is the part where they try and have a reasonable conversation with him. And then, if you were to describe this to somebody, this scene by itself, it would really sound like you were describing a Cthulhu story. The investigators find a shrine to a strange god. A man returns home after acting strangely for weeks, and he acts violently and starts screaming about his god and its good fortune, and it starts to power him up with its purple glow. It sounds like a Cthulhu story.
Yeah.
And then he starts to go super nuts, and then the Falcomon's like, "Oh, guess it's time to murder," and it starts growing as well, and it sets the place on fire somehow.
Yeah, no, I thought it was because of Agumon, wasn't it?
Was it Agumon's fault? I don't remember that.
I thought it was Agumon because he breathes fire.
I mean, I know he does breathe fire, but it doesn't seem like I thought it was on fire before they even start fighting.
I don't know.
Neither do I.
Good point.
Point is, he breaks the whole place and
dramatic.
starts fighting. And then fight scene. Yoshi and Toma show up. I honestly don't remember them doing anything.
They evolve.
Yeah, but then I distinctly remember the ending being Greymon evolves, and it's so dumb. So Valmon's only been using punches and just random attacks.
Yeah.
And then finally he does a big named attack. It's Nightmare Wave, and the big purple thing comes out, and it appears to stun lock Greymon. And then Greymon's like, nah, I'm fine, and just wins the fight.
Yeah, and there's a few lines that are a bit different in this part.
Sorry, just when do the bad guys ever like use their big trump card move and it just doesn't matter?
Jumojimon actually seemed to do well. He was able to get back to the digital world until he was followed there.
That's not what I said at all.
I thought you said about the Berserk not going well.
No, not Berserk. Berserk's really not relevant. I mean, like you didn't see this move coming.
Oh, right, yeah.
Oh, you know, in like the V-Tamer manga, oh, we're in my world. You didn't see this surprise coming. And imagine if that happened, right? You're in my world, and then just like loses immediately, and it has no effect whatsoever.
Yeah, no, I see your point. Anyway, so
silly.
As I was saying, there are a few lines during this fight that were a bit different. For example, there are a few times that in the dub, they keep on mentioning that Shiditori, or I think he's Shitori in the dub, they shortened his name a bit to make it simpler, that he's under Valmon and Devimon's command. And also, Valmon's mouth doesn't move when he talks, so he has a bunch of added lines. He basically does not talk in the original.
I really like that time when Masaru punched him.
Yeah, it's always the best part of every episode.
It's so good. Because you're always like, that thing's too big for him to punch, isn't it? Nope.
Look, Masaru will find a way.
I'm really not looking forward to him failing in the beginning of the next episode we watch. Not the next episode we cover, the next one we watch, because he's fighting an ultimate. There's no way. So when he lands a hit on it right now, he'll land a hit later.
With the will, we'll have the way.
That was awful.
That was fantastic.
And also, you could have just made it so much easier. With the will, there's a way. Just say that.
Okay, I guess I could say that.
Oh my God.
After the fight, Ko's dad is sad the money is gone.
Even though he was holding some of it.
In the dub, he says he feels bad that he was under their control, which
he didn't
wasn't.
put it into banks. Here, keep this safe.
So Connor finally tells his dad about his dream, and his dad says he'll teach him everything.
Does the dad just not know? How could it never come up before?
I don't know. Also, we missed a part that was probably like my favorite part in the episode.
Really?
Where Masaru starts yelling at his the Shiritori guy and saying, "Look, you're basically ignoring your son's dream. There are things that money can't buy. Money can't buy hope, and money can't buy dreams. And you are completely ignoring your son's dream. And what kind of person does that?"
It can buy all the stuff you need to achieve a dream. So
I know,
it's
but
basically as good.
I think he's so good. He just cares so much about his friend.
He's a bro.
And while, yes, he is doing it for Manju, he's not doing it just for Manju. He's doing it because he made a promise to his friend.
And then the ending cliffhanger bit that you were talking about was Tom walking in and being
yeah.
contact all the other divisions of DATS. Which is, to be fair to you, and not to me, when I said they're never going to talk about the other divisions of DATS, apparently I was super wrong.
Yeah.
They might not ever see them, but...
I think they address them more. I'm not sure if we actually see them because that would involve traveling. And
Can't
I don't
wait
think...
for the Digimon World Tour Part 2!
Oh no, I don't want the Digi-Datsony dingo of Australia.
That's really strong.
That's really strong?
Digi-Datsony.
So my original complaint was, how did he get from America to Japan in like 12 hours? Because I thought the episode was over 12 hours. I was wrong. It's like a couple of days because we get a montage.
Oh, I saw it. One of my favorite bits, now that you remind me of the timing of this. Okay, so here's the thing. This conversation with Tom, right? Mm-hmm. It's right after the fight, isn't it?
Yes.
Because he gets back and he gives the manju to his co-workers.
Yeah, straight away.
Okay, so that happens at night, doesn't it? That fight that he has with Vilemon?
Yes.
Yeah, so how come the moment we continue the conversation at the beginning of the next episode and they step outside and it's middle of the day?
It's always that dramatic timing of it's nighttime or it's stormy whenever there's a fight. And the moment the fight is over, it's sunny.
Yeah, exactly. This one is really bad for that.
I think this might be a problem in Sabers in general, where a lot of the time it'll just be nighttime for dramatic mood lighting, and then when the story, like the fight finishes, or when a bit of story passes, even if they don't show any time passing.
Let me tell you something.
Different time now.
I put the time in to write a book.
Yeah.
Not been published. Very sad. Maybe in the future that will change. Hopefully by the time you listen to that, this will have changed. The point being, I don't get paid to write stuff. What I do know is that even not getting paid, I put the thought in what time is it in the story and how does the timing work so that everything makes sense and none of the references are screwed up. If you're animating stuff, regardless of whether you're writing a story, if you're animating and you're like, it was nighttime in the last scene, why is it daytime now? Shrug.
See, I wanted him to, like, maybe the next scene after the fight was him going to bed with, like, maybe some manju, and he's trying to protect it from Agumon. Like, he puts it under the pillowcase.
Oh, that'd be cute.
Or alternatively, there's just a line, added line where Shiratori says, "Hey, yeah, pick it up in the morning."
Yeah, that could work.
Because maybe, like, you know,
Can we just talk about the scene where he's trying to sleep and defend it? I'm thinking he's fully asleep, one arm draped over the box, and Agumon is sneaking over, right? He's all like, I'm a sneaky.
And he punches him in the sleep.
Yeah, exactly. Well, bam! Right in the face. And I was like,
pow, right in the kisser.
Aniki, oh, fine. Oh.
Did you say, I'm sorry, did you say Aniki?
Aniki.
It's Aniki.
No, it's Anarchy. You know, like no government.
Oh, okay. My apologies.
Okay, Anarchy.
So yeah, Toma comes in and was all like, yo, here, have some plots. Surprise, didn't expect.
Yo, it's you, Simone.
Yo. It's part of my playlist.
My yo, Pereira style. He tears his pants back.
Wonder beat.
Why did Atmon tear his pants? How? Why are the pants not just fused to their body? How does the data differentiate what is pants and what isn't?
Which Atmon would you like to see Masaru punch?
That's really difficult. I would love to see him punch whatever it is that Dokimon evolves into, because it would also love it, and they would have a punch fight.
They would have a fight. It would be
also,
great.
the one that, whatever Dokimon, the big Wrestlemon,
Ouijamon, yeah.
has 4 arms. It's gonna be so much punch.
But Masaru only needs 1.
Alternatively, you can't have him punching women, but he could have the best punch.
Dude,
he could have the best punch fight with Eri.
Dude, Masaru, I think Masaru respects women a lot because he's been risen by a mother who is
okay. The word is raised. Come on.
Okay, yeah, good point. He's like bred. He's been raised. He has a single parent who is single-handedly looking after and bringing up 2 children. I think, and he's also got a sister. I'm pretty sure that Masaru respects women, and he would want.
Sure, he does.
But he's probably a bit scared of women. So
and when one tell says, "I'm gonna punch you," he's like, I'll fight you."
He probably would punch a woman, but because he believes in equality. Because he thinks that women are as strong as men. Sure. And because he's saying, well, women are so amazingly scary, I'm probably at a disadvantage here.
Oh no, not the universal punch.
But he would probably punch anyway.
Get Phyto.
But he wouldn't just punch women. He'd only punch them if they were going to have a fight.
Yeah.
Like, he wouldn't just, punch women because he could punch women.
Well, we're going really deep into this woman punching, aren't we? Wow.
I just feel...
You have really complicated feelings about woman punching.
All I'm trying to say is Masaru is a feminist.
Oh, I'm sure. So is every character in all pieces of media that you like.
I don't think Toma would be a feminist.
Well, I don't like him, so.
I think out of the 3 characters we know, I think Masaru would be the most feminist.
Yeah, Yoshi sucks. You're right.
We don't know enough about Yoshi yet.
Yeah, she's awful.
I don't remember much. Maybe she's not good, but apparently she's not good according to everyone. Apparently I'm wrong for thinking she's all right.
Hey, remember what everyone thought about Lord Nightmon? Because everyone was so right about that.
I still love Lord Nightmon.
Yeah, because he's such a flaming homo that is constantly hitting on all the kids and making.
I'd like to point out
references.
that I'd like to point out that Jay is saying that ironically. And
I am, because that never happened.
He doesn't actually speak like that.
And people warned you that would happen, and it was not true.
Look, I was scared because I'm pretty sure I like Lord Nightmon, but all right. But no, I don't think him being gay ever came up. It'd be fine if it did. It's fine, but it didn't come up.
He'd vote yes.
I think everyone would
then
vote
he'd
yes.
cop flack for
You know
it.
who would? Masaru would vote yes.
Yeah, he would. What a bro.
But only because he hears that drunk people punch people at weddings. So he thinks that a wedding would be a best place. And the more people can get married, the more punching.
Wow, I love his very singular character motivations of, okay, but when's Marvel though? When are we fighting?
When Broly.
When Broly.
Alright, so episode 12 happens straight up way, despite us talking about essentially nothing for 10 minutes. Probably more than that. I've lost track of time. In the dub, there's an added clip of Mickey telling people about the theory that Toma has. And I'm pretty sure this was added because of how many clips are cut out in this episode, mainly of the shuriken and of a needle. But I'm pretty sure they cut out maybe 30 seconds of footage in the dub. So I think they needed to add on this extra bit at the start just to add things up. So they added a bit more from the last episode in. Thomas says that there are 7 emotions that lead to the human heart towards evil, and then the 7 deadly sins. What do you think of that, by the way?
I think it's really silly, and I particularly think it's incredibly silly because this episode disproves that.
I think it's different if they come to the real world as eggs.
No, because the big owl bird shows up in the portal, and it's only there to get the egg. It has nothing to do with any human.
I think that's the majority. I think this guy has some things going on, because so does Marukimon.
What I'm trying to say is that if you're opening your episode with "this is our big theory about how Digimon work," don't immediately give evidence to say that he's wrong.
Okay, yeah, no, that's a point. Yeah.
I do think it's interesting that that at the end of the last episode, and Masaru came to the exact same conclusion as Toma did like 3 episodes ago.
Yeah.
Which shows that he does have a functioning brain in there, despite all of the head wounds.
He just wants to punch more. That's Masaru's character.
He ain't got time.
But like, even though like his motivation is mainly driven by punching, it's also another bit of his motivation is drawn by friendship and love and family.
Mostly punching, though.
Mostly punching. But I feel like he's a good character despite that, though.
What do you say despite that? It's because of that. He's so straightforward.
Would you have liked Daisuke more if he just started punching everything?
No, he's a painful asshole and who I hate. I don't like him.
Masaru's great.
Like, you have to understand that Masaru is fun, okay? Like, everything about him is interesting and cute, and like, the fact that he's super enthusiastic for punching things is charming. Davis was awful, and I think what's really annoyed me about Davis is that he felt really self-entitled to be the leader, and he's like, yeah, I get the goggles because I was wearing them already, but also Tai said I could have them, and now I'm gonna lead us, and I make terrible decisions and never change and never develop in any way.
I still think they just called him the leader just to shut him up. I'm pretty sure they actually said that in one episode too.
Shit just makes him feel better. Okay, don't worry about it. But like, no one else said that they were really the leader. So at that point, sure, he actually is.
Thomas says that Digimon have been showing up worldwide because of these emotions and based on these emotions.
Hope Davis is dead.
Then we get a signal that there's a Digimon that has appeared in Sector D. We find out that it's Masaru's house. So they burst in and Sayuri is just holding a Digi-Egg. And she says, I thought it would be nice if we could make some fried eggs for Agu-chan out of this.
So this is a funny moment, but it actually makes no sense, because how is it possible that you would walk in and she'd be holding the egg in her lap if, as an example, your parents had just bought a dozen eggs to make fried eggs with?
Yay.
And they got home.
Yay.
There is no point in which you could conceivably imagine that between them getting the eggs and going to make the fried egg and going to make them as food, they would sit down on the couch and cuddle them.
Actually, Jay, there is actually a scientific reason for this. If you actually cuddle and caress an egg before you use it, it actually makes it taste better.
This is lies. And
100%, 100%. I'm just seeing if I can make you believe me.
You're full of dirty lies.
Oh yeah, 100%. No, that's
Are you one big robot piloted by lies?
That is 100% not true. It is. I mean, you could try to cuddle
you don't
it.
need to keep like adding those on. No one believed you in the first place.
Oh.
What?
But
I almost got you, but it's fine. It was not true. Like, no one believed you.
If you want to, you can cuddle an egg before you cook. I mean, maybe I will next time just to see if it does actually taste better. Maybe it is a scientific fact.
Look, you go ahead and do that.
I'm going to cuddle each and every egg.
That seems like a big waste of time.
What if one hatches into a Digimon? Then he'll be the waste of time. Yeah. Satsuma tells them to take it back to HQ. Lalamon is using a stethoscope on it and it's really, really cute.
Does she have ears?
No, she does not, Jay. She is a flower alien planet.
So where did the head bits go in?
Her
Eggs
imagination.
don't have heartbeats.
There's a lot of things wrong with this image,
Okay, actually, I mean, an egg with a live thing in it technically would, yeah. But also, Digimon probably don't have hearts, because we learned from Leomon that if you look inside them, there are no organs.
Poor Leomon.
So, what the hell?
Actually, I think it might not be for a heartbeat. I think it's actually for movement inside the egg. Remember in Pokemon how whenever an egg's about to hatch, it says there are sounds coming from within it. It sounds like it's moving inside. It may be hatching soon.
I think it's just that they shake.
Maybe they move inside the egg. You don't know. Wait, hey, when you were an egg, I bet you moved around a lot.
I didn't. Neither did you.
But they kick, like, I know human babies, they do the kick thing, and you
Sure,
can like.
we weren't eggs then. We were eggs before that.
You can see a foot if there's an extremely pregnant person and the baby kicks. You can actually see the footprint.
Don't tell me that. I'm scared.
It's horrifying. I've seen videos of it.
Don't hug
it's
me.
horrifying.
I'm frightened.
It's horrifying. The miracle of childbirth is horrendous. Let's not have kids.
Okay, deal.
Let's have
It's
dogs
recorded
instead.
now. You can't go back. No take backsies.
Oh no! I better quickly edit that one day.
Try to find it. And you're like, nah, it's gone. Nah, you can't.
Kudamon says that this is the 6th one. Yoshino explains that there were 5 cases where a Digimon has appeared in egg form.
Sorry, no, I didn't interrupt you. Okay. Picture this.
Yeah?
Okay, you've just given birth. Awful picture, I know, but imagine it.
Awful,
And
horrendous.
you've got the baby, and the nurse is like, okay, I'll take him off to the nursery or whatever, and you hand it over, and you're like, haha, no take backsies. And the nurse is holding the baby like, and you're just taking the IV out and jumping out the window, like, I'm free!
And I say, it wasn't a dog and it wasn't a Digimon. What use is this to me?
Why did you spend 9 months making it then?
I thought it might come out as a dog or a Digimon.
The gamble was worth it.
Or maybe even a Dogmons.
Dogmons.
Woo!
Woo! I should listen to that again.
That was so good. I'm happy I put it at the end of the last episode just so I could listen to it again. It was great. So 6 Digimon have appeared like this. No, 5 Digimon have appeared like this before, and it's all the Digimon at DATS. And we find out that humans with compatible Digisoul are scouted by DATS, so they kind of are the chosen children.
Hold on a second. Then did the captains not appear like this?
Yeah, he did. He's mentioned.
Well, you said there were 5.
No,
Yoshi?
Kudamon's not mentioned. So it's I wrote them down. It's Lalamon, Galmon, Pawn, Chessmon, White and Black, and Agumon. So no, there was no mention of Kudamon, which is weird.
Also, why, if it appeared like this, and they know how to deal with Digimon who appear like this, and this is what they do, they search for someone with Digisoul, why were they trying to put Raptor 1 back in the digital world? Is it possible they hadn't written this part yet?
That's actually really worrying that you've made me think of that, and now I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Oh no! They didn't see it coming! They forgot! They forgot that they were trying to send Agumon back.
Oh no. Oh no.
It's not special! This whole bit doesn't make sense!
Oh no, you've just... Jay, why would you make...
It's why I'm here!
Why would you... I really liked this episode before that.
Why? Halfway through it ruins itself.
I don't know.
Do you remember that time people break into their house and assault a little girl
Oh,
because
that's
they just
horrifying.
choose not to
That's
explain
horrifying.
themselves?
Anyway, the egg moves and falls to the floor, and they all try to get at it, but they all end up piling on Lalamon because they all hate her.
And then Agumon somehow trips over himself because his feet too big for his goddamn legs. And then he just slams his face onto the egg and breaks it.
It's really good that it was actually ready to hatch, right? Imagine if it just came out and it was yolk.
Has there ever been a case where they broke a digi-egg and it wasn't ready to hatch?
I think that's because that'd be a bit disturbing.
Like, it's never happened and it's never even talked about.
Like, imagine if yolk or a fetus came out. Imagine if we saw a Digimon fetus. That would be horrific. I don't want to see that.
I don't think they come in fetuses. I think it's just a big pile of data. Because think about it, right? Digimon don't grow. They just change.
Or they call HQ.
You got me. So, I mean, like, Digimon do not have intermediary stages. They have, you are this thing, or you are this thing, or you are this thing.
Actually...
Or you're berserk, to be fair.
A completely fun fact about Digimon Savers.
Come on, it's gotta be fun.
There is only one baby stage in Savers.
Is that the one that we just see today?
They got rid of... You know how there are 2 baby stages?
No,
For example,
what?
Botamon and Koromon.
No.
You know how it goes Botamon, Koromon, Agumon?
Oh, you mean like there's fresh?
Yeah, there's only one baby stage. They got rid of the 2 baby stages.
Well, sure, it's a stupid system.
Yeah, so now it goes baby and then child and then
Fine.
adult.
Okay,
It
good
doesn't
on
go
them.
baby then. No, it doesn't go fresh then, or baby 1, baby 2, or fresh or in training. It skips them, and there's only one of each.
They also removed armor evolution, and that was a tragic loss for everyone.
I just think that was a fun fact.
That was fun for some people. I don't know who it would be, but okay. New weekly poll. Was it a fun fact?
It was a very fun fact.
Did you have fun with this fact?
It was very fun. It was very fun.
I've never had less fun with facts. Facts notorious for being fun.
Puamon is the baby inside the egg, and Chikamon wants to feed it, and she hugs it, and she thinks it's really cute. And Yoshino is reading about Puamon and says that it hates having its tail touched. In the dub, they removed the Japanese and replaced it with lazy scribbles on the laptop screen, and it just looks bad.
It'll look like text. It'd look better if they just put like straight lines.
Yes, it just looks like, you know, when you're drawing something in Microsoft Paint.
That's probably what it was.
It looks like Microsoft Paint. It looks like, oh, we forgot to do that. Oh, better put in some lazy scribbles.
Because that looked like it was done with a mouse, not with like a tablet pen or whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's drawn. It looks like it's done with a mouse. Like they forgot to, like maybe they cleared out the Japanese, but they forgot to add something. It looks bad.
It's really funny.
Like usually the edits they do in the dub are fine. Like, they have changed a lot of Japanese text to English text or removed it or whatever, but it usually looks fine and professionally done, and, you know, unless you're looking for it, you don't actually notice that it's any different. But in the dub, in this episode, for some reason, they must have forgotten it, surely. To make it look this bad, to make it look like little mouse lines, it looks like a joke, or it looks like a lazy thing. I don't know.
Good Easter egg.
It's just a little thing. It's really annoying, and sometimes it's hard to notice these things, but this one was so obvious.
So Puamon looks like it should turn to Hawkmon, right? Am I wrong?
I think
It's got brown feathers. It's got this big.
Yeah.
It's got the red and white feather on its tail.
I mean, it looks more like Hawkmon than Hawkmon's baby forms do.
Yeah, so it's probably that.
It probably does in one of the games. I love
I'm a
Hawkmon.
genius.
I believe it also evolves to Falcomon, but I might be wrong. Literally, we see him in this episode, Jay.
The owl?
His name is Falcomon, but yes.
It's the owl.
I noticed you called
His name.
Jay. I noticed you called him that in your notes. It doesn't stop you from being wrong. His name is Falcomon.
It's his name. It's the owl.
Falcomon.
Falco! So, my favorite is always Kirby's. That Hygo Bunch!
Me too.
Hygo Bunch.
Same.
So what happens with the tail pulling, right?
Yeah, Agumon gets electrocuted.
Hey, here's a quick question for you. How can Agumon get electrocuted by this ball, who is clearly covering itself in electricity? Yet Chica's fine.
It's just through the tail. That takes a current, and because Chica's grounded, it doesn't touch her because her feet are on the ground.
So are Agumon.
Agumon's feet aren't on the ground. They're hovering.
That's not true.
Maybe it is.
Maybe you're lying.
No, I never lie.
You lied just before about eggs.
Hey, you didn't know I was lying.
You said you were.
No, maybe I'm not. Maybe I was lying about lying.
You're on tape.
Nah, couldn't have been me. I'm perfect.
You had such an opportunity. Such an opportunity to be like, no, it's fake news.
Nah.
Every opportunity. You ruined it. Whatever. So Garmon brings a big machine into the house.
It's a quarantine machine.
That doesn't make any sense.
Also, I was pretty sure they were going to put Puamon inside it, but they don't.
Does it do anything?
It's meant to quarantine Digimon from emotions, like from human emotions, so he doesn't become weird and berserk.
Who designed it?
I like to think Toma did.
Didn't they just find out about that today?
Okay, so maybe it's implied that they took this from the professor in, I think, America, was it?
So you think that shipped over today?
Yes, I was about to say they got that on a plane, apparently.
And they got it to Masaru's house?
That's apparently what they're
implying. And
implying.
they got it inside somehow, despite it being as tall as the ceiling?
Or they transport it with the thing they have at DATS that transports things.
What's that?
I don't know, some FTP server, probably. A really, 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 really fast and good FTP server that does physical objects.
Does this machine ever actually do anything? Because I remember them showing up, and I don't remember it ever actually...
Oh, yeah, it shows up and does nothing. No, we're 100%
Why did
right.
they introduce it?
Maybe it's going to be used in another episode. I actually can't remember this machine.
Maybe they walk into Masaru's house for every episode from now on, and there's like the big machine, like we don't know how to get it out.
Like Chica's, she's tiptoeing downstairs for some cookies.
We actually know it's gone
her toe.
later in the episode.
Shh, no.
We see this hallway and it's empty.
Oh no, don't tell me that. I wanted Chica to tiptoe down and stub her toe on it. Puamon wants some of the chips, but Agumon scares him and Chica tells him off for bullying.
But Agumon is just like, yes, you can have some chips, and just has a scary mouth.
Yeah, because he's a dinosaur.
It's so... this is super unfair to Agumon. Super unfair.
Chica says that she's going to start calling him Poo-chan. In the dub, she says that she could hug him all day long. Also, Puamon just giggles, and in the original, Puamon's saying things like poo, 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 instead of giggling.
And then Agumon's like, I can poo, 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 I can say that, because he really wants attention.
Yeah, he says, I'm meant to be the idol of this family.
He's you.
Yeah, me too.
Yes, you are you too. Good job.
And then he's saying, and everyone says, so what is he doing? And someone else says, he's trying to be cute. And then Sayuri says, except when he's eating. Like, wow, that was cold. In the dub, they says how they all, like, first of all, Agumon says how he's meant to be the favorite instead of the idol, because I guess they don't really have idols there except for American's Next Top Idol, I think.
Wow, it's just called American Idol.
Okay.
You had it. You were doing fine.
And then instead of Sayuri saying a sick burn, Sarah says, I think he's being cute, instead of referencing eating habits, and she actually says something nice. Then there's a nameplate that we see on Chica's room, but in the dub, it just says sleeping instead of Chica's room. And this is a lot better than To Mimi Love Joe.
Yeah, because it's the sort of thing that you would put on your own door.
And it's not, To Marcus Love Toma. I'm still not over the one of the weirdest changes I've ever seen in anything, which is our war game and the nameplate on the door.
Let it go.
No, I'm not letting it go. It's the nameplate on Mimi's door, and they changed it from Tachikawa family to Mimi love Joe. I am so not never.
It's fine. Joe just loves Mimi.
I am just never going to be over
it.
this. Never.
How about you just get over it right now?
Nah. Puamon and Chika are in bed together, and they're singing, and it's really cute. And then we see a bird appears over the bridge. Masaru and Tom are staying the night, and they're fighting over Tom's technology. Chika runs in and says that Puchan has been acting really frightened. Then they woke up Agumon. In the dub, he says, "You're being so loud, I could barely hear myself snore." Then Agumon gets the blame for scaring Puchan, and when we get rid of Agumon, we find out that Puchan is still freaking out. Falcomon shows up at the house, and I love Falcomon. I don't know why. I just think he's super cute, and he's a little birdie.
Seems out of place to me because he's got his like little dapper waistcoat on, and it doesn't make any sense.
I think you might prefer his original design, but it's very basic, and he looks basically more like a slightly more humanoid Pidgey in his original design.
So the thing about this scene is that Falcomon never explains what their motivation is. They're just like, give me the thing. And if he just sat down and said, look, this is, it's important to me for this reason, and I'm willing to talk to you like a reasonable person, then it would have been fine. But he was weird and aggressive the whole time, and that was what made them not talk to him.
He is Falcomon's original design.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I kind of like his original design. It's kind of cute. I'll link it in the linked up. So, of course, we have... And there are a few Digimon that have two different designs. Obviously, we have Agumon and the Agumon in Sabers.
And Agumon Buraku.
And then we have Falcomon, which I just mentioned just then. But we also have Kudamon, who was originally different looking.
Wormmon?
No, this is what Kudamon looked like originally.
Is it bigger? Is it more of a worm? Like what's
No, he's a different colour. He's not as yellow.
I thought he was white with some yellow stripes.
No, so this is what, just to remind you, it's a very bad image. Thanks, Digimon Wikipedia.
Thanks. Which one's the one I said was great? Okay.
Yeah, so he's yellow instead of purple. So yeah, there are just two another fun fact. I'm very full of the fun facts today.
Is it fun though? Are you
full
not
of something.
lying again?
No, this one's very fun.
You lie all the time. You're fake news.
So both Falcomon and Kudamon both had different forms, and I felt like it was important to tell everyone that.
It's probably fake.
So yeah, they start fighting with Falcomon, and we find out that he's very fast, and so fast Masaru can't even punch him. So we found out that if someone's fast, very fast. And his voice in the original is so cute. In the dub, it doesn't fit. It's like, I know his voice in the dub sounds like it's a bit too old to be coming out of this cute little voice. In the original, he's got this cute little boy voice.
I feel the opposite way. I think that a Digimon coming in to be responsible for a baby shouldn't sound like a baby.
Okay. But all Digimon, I think, in their child form should sound like a baby.
Is Falcomon a child?
Yeah.
What?
He's a child level.
But why is he so strong?
Because the script is look, when you introduce a Digimon, you're meant to show them as really powerful, right?
Kumamon's not that powerful.
Except if you're a baby. Oh no, he did electrocute Agumon though, and Agumon did not look happy. And for
So
a baby
what?
to do that, look, my point is, he's a baby. He's a child level Digimon. He can have a child voice, okay?
No.
Puchan is really super scared, and Masaru is trying to punch
calling
him.
it Puchan.
That's because that's his name now.
It's not.
It is his name. It's
Chan's
Puchan.
not part of someone's name.
Puchan, it's so cute. Go away. We get a scene that's cut in the dub, and it's of Falcomon throwing shurikens at Masaru, and Masaru being pinned to a balcony.
Up plus die.
So this is just cut.
Chun, chun, chun.
Falcomon flies away, and Puchan, or Puamon, because apparently Jay hates happiness,
I do. You should stop that.
he evolves to Piyomon, and we find out that he's a boy Piyomon, despite having a very high-pitched voice in the original. In the dub, he has a boy's voice, and it's actually really weird.
Oh, it's so strange.
It's so weird.
Also, he's huge.
And then, despite this being like halfway into the episode, we get the intro in the Japanese version, and it took me by surprise. It was like, whoa, plot was happening. What? And I got a bit of whiplash. Like, what? How we?
We're at a big evil castle, and there's a rock man, and he's talking to Mercurymon. Here's a question. Mercurymon.
Okay, you might be getting confused with Mercurymon, who was the warrior of steel in the Evil Spirits in Frontier.
That's the same word you just said.
No, it's Mercurymon and Okay.
Okay, what was that?
It's Mercurymon
Yeah.
and Mercurymon.
It's the same word.
It's written differently in Japanese, but because they're so similar in English, they changed his name from Mercurymon to Marukimon.
Because honestly, when I was watching it, I only just remembered Mercurymon from Frontier now.
Yeah.
I was watching it and I go, that sounds familiar. Why is that so? Do I know this guy? And you see him a bit, and I'm like, oh, I've never seen this guy before. But why is it so? Because it's the same name. It's written the same in English.
Yeah.
In the subtitles. That's super dumb. It was last season, guys. Come on. Imagine if you like, oh, Vamdemon. Oh, no, but you see, it's not Vamdemon. It's Vamdemon.
It's Vamdemon, not Vamdemon. It's
Yeah,
Leviosa.
Vamdemon. And you're like, it's the same.
Marukimon's really evil looking, and he tells them about the egg, and he asks what Ikuto is doing. In the dub, it's changed to Keenan.
Who's Ikuto?
We don't know yet.
It's Keenan. Okay.
Yeah, his name's changed to Keenan, which, like, to be honest, that's quite a jump from Ikuto to Keenan. I call him Isaac or something. Like, keep the first letter the same. Why?
don't worry about
Why
it.
did you change it to? Because Hayase to Harris. That's fine. That makes sense. Ikuto to Keenan.
Cody and Iori.
Okay, good point. Miyako and Yoli, I guess.
Yeah, it's been forever. Don't worry about it.
Good point. You're right.
Matt and Yamato. What would you have called Matt with keeping the first letter?
Yummy.
What are you, some kind of weeb?
No. No, Matt's fine because it's short for
I
it.
know, but it already breaks your rule. Keep the first letter.
I still maintain that the worst change of names from any child character in Digimon is Zenjiro to Jeremy.
I can see how they got it.
Because it sounds sort of the same, except for it starts with a Z and not a J.
They should call him Zexel.
Zebra.
And the Zexel is the English subtitle version we have. It must have been like the block of shows they were watching. And they're like, this next time on Zexel.
I have no idea what that is.
It's a little ball thing. You'll notice it next time you're watching.
Do you mean Jetix?
I do mean Jetix.
You mean Jetix?
I do.
What's Zexel?
I don't know.
Next time on Jetix. Next time on Zexel.
I thought it was Zexel.
Because Jetix is like not Fox Kids. It's
I
like
have no idea what
TV
Jetix
channel.
is.
Yeah, no, we didn't get Jetix. All I know about Jetix is that it had a lot of like games on the internet, but a lot of the websites had the problem that a lot of websites did in the 90s if they were for kids. No, where you just mouse over something and it would start screaming at you. It would be LiT Turner from Netflix's Death Note.
You love that so much.
I feel like that's the only redeemable thing about the movie. I've not seen the movie. It could be an amazing movie.
So there's evil doctors in Masaru's house, and they have captured Piyomon, and they're about to inject Chica full of mysterious liquids.
It is actually kind of terrifying
Then
and kind of
Masaru
horrifying.
shows up and tries to stop them, and they go, hey dude, we're from DATS. We're doing this thing that's totally innocent. And now the very simple question is, Masaru is an employee of DATS. Should you not have informed him beforehand? Also, maybe if you told Chica what you were doing. Also, why did you have to put Piyomon in a cage? Also, Piyomon is the size of a person. How come it shrunk down to fit in that cage?
I think she's very uncomfortable right now.
But it's standing up fully straight. It just shrunk. It's now the size of a dog. It's the size of a regular Piyomon. from Adventure.
Okay, no, I see your point. She does change a little bit.
Really, the question is, how did the doctors, A, break into the house without Masaru noticing? And B, how come they didn't tell him beforehand if they're from DATS? The captain knew they were coming with their needles and didn't tell him.
Okay, first of all, I think he may not have high enough clearance because he just joined. But
They're going to his house right now.
I think that there should be an added bit of footage where it's just Masaru being held back by some doctors as they charge in.
But, like...
Look, we don't know what his contract said. His contract might have said you are giving permission to DATS to storm into your house anytime.
Wouldn't they have said that when he shows up?
Also, what if DATS just can go into people's houses without saying anything? Because they can just wipe people's memory.
True.
And they are part of the government effectively. So they might just have the clearance to burst into anybody's house and just minesweep anybody.
The problem here is that, like, it's meant to give you the shock reaction, right? The shock reaction of, oh my god, what's happening? Oh, Piyomon's in jail, and oh, they're about to stick her with needles. And then what they tell you is we're checking her for if she has, like, a Digisoul or whatever.
Yeah. No, compatible Digisoul.
So the question is, one, what could possibly be in that needle to check for a Digisoul? How could you inject something into somebody and it will somehow show if they have one?
Maybe it brings it out. You know how Masaru has to punch someone to bring it out? Maybe it's injecting her with a drug that feels so full of that. Maybe it's adrenaline. Maybe that's the key, and that's why Masaru needs to punch a Digimon to see it, because it's his adrenaline coming out. Maybe it's his anger.
So
maybe it's something.
Even if I accept that, would talking to her not have been just fine?
I don't think you can tell that from that. I don't think you can say, hey, do you have a Digisol? Maybe.
No. I don't mean like don't inject her. I mean like, hey, little girl, we're here to do this. We're from DATS. This is what we're going to do. We're reasonable people who are empathetic to people who think they're being kidnapped right now.
Because this scene frightens the viewer is why they did it.
Other question, given that Piyomon is man-sized, how did these two doctors who are not Masaru manage to get Piyomon into a cage? Also, the bars of that cage are really, really thin. How come she can't break out of it?
Yeah, I feel like she should be able to break out of it being a giant
She can
bird.
shoot fire with her face.
I feel like there's a lot of missing footage from this. There's a lot of missing footage from the start of this scene because they would have to explain too much.
No, it's the script.
It's in the cage too.
The problem is it's nothing to explain, right? It just doesn't make sense. They just wanted to give you a feeling, and then they're like, but you're wrong,
Look, I feel like I could explain it really easily.
Really? Go on, easily.
If I were animating this and writing this or directing it or whatever, I would have added some extra bits. First of all, they drugged Piyomon. They basically jumped on her and quickly injected her with something. She's just evolved and she's basically just a newborn. So she's probably not all that aware of movement or anything.
Do drugs work on Digimon because they don't have veins?
They probably have a drug because they're DATs of something that would knock out a Digimon or something. Just say they do. They just say, oh, this is a special Digimon knockout thing. Or they just knock it out in some way to get into a cage.
Do you do yoga? Because this is a really good stretch.
No, I think it's legitimate.
No, it's not.
Second of all, as I said before, I feel like they could have explained that DATs haven't basically an open run into any building on ever if there's a Digimon inside rule. Because that's basically what they've been doing. They've just basically like, oh, we can run into this out of bounds area because we are DATs. And I feel like that's something they could actually expand upon. Like, oh, we can just, if there's a Digimon in there and we're 100% that there's a Digimon in there, we can just enter.
Yeah, but they would have been able to anyway if they just knocked.
Yeah, I just feel like they could have fixed this with adding in a few more scenes.
Maybe if they just didn't have this stupid surprise bit and just have Doctor show up at the door and be like, hello, we need to talk to you.
No, because this added a lot of emotion. This was scary to me.
Okay, yeah, but it was emotional manipulation because, like, and I know media's meant to do that, right? It's meant to make you feel things, but this is doing it for the sole purpose of making you feel a thing for a second so that it can take it away from you. It has no relevance to the story at all.
Anyway, I should probably mention that there was a cut bit of clip. It's when they're holding up a needle against Christy and she's screaming. This is cut because it's actually kind of horrifying. It's this huge needle against this very terrified little girl.
At any point did the doctors think, you know what, we should probably say something?
No, because it's scary to the viewer.
We should reassure her.
Look, I'm fine with this.
We're not human people.
Look, this is a scary scene.
You're fine with it because it's nonsense, but it made you feel something anyway.
Yeah, but I think it doesn't... because if you're a kid or you're just watching this for fun, you don't ask these questions.
I do.
Also, we can just say that DATs are horrible people.
I mean, yeah, they are.
You can answer this whole thing by just simply saying DATs are not good.
Who's the real villain?
Because we don't actually know for sure if DATs are good. Remember, they were trying to catch Raptor 1.
I bet Mercuriumon is actually the real hero.
What if though?
Actually, I bet his motivation is, I'm going to conquer the digital world, and then I will conquer the real world. Because
that's
we've never seen that one before.
Because that's literally every Digimon bad guy's thing, and I will admit that. Masaru then beats up the doctors because that's his reasonable way of getting through anything ever.
Well, yeah, I mean, to be fair, his reaction's very... Hey, if you saw two randoms assaulting, like one of them, it's really bad example.
My dog.
Assaulting your dog with needles, what would you do?
I would super punch them.
Exactly.
Unless though, they had a good reason to, which they haven't said anything, so they haven't.
Exactly.
At DATS, Sayuri shows up and she knows Satsuma. And then she's speaking to Satsuma and she says that it's only natural because Masaru is the son of that man. But she doesn't want Sayuri to be involved because everybody close to her is being taken away by Digimon. In the dub, she says that she doesn't want to lose another person to Digimon.
So, yeah, it's completely implied all of a sudden that, Masaru's dad was totally involved with DATS for ages, and he's probably in the digital world somewhere right now, even though they think he's dead. So we'll find him later in a cave. And I guess that's why she's kind of cool with Agumon in the house. It's a reasonable explanation for that. What I don't like is the way they were like, that man. The way she talks about this is just so they don't have to tell you his name. In the same way they don't want to show you his face on the photos, so that you as the viewer have less information, even though there's no way anyone would have a conversation that way. If I'm talking to someone about you, I don't say, that person. I go, yeah, May.
Yeah, but also the thing is, I've only ever watched this in the original version, right? And never watched it in English.
Yeah.
I know his name in the English version. I don't know his name in the original version. That's weird.
Sure.
Because I'm pretty sure his name in the English version is Spencer, and I don't think that's the original version name.
Big spoils.
Oh, yeah, someone's
Big
name.
Spencers. Oh, you spenced it for me.
Toma is talking to Masaru, and they're saying that if Chica's Digisoul is compatible to Piyomon, she'll be enlisted at DATS. Toma asks Masaru if she'd be able to tell Chica to say goodbye to Piyomon forever when he starts saying, but no, I don't want her to. I don't want her to be dragged into this.
Have they considered that that is nonsense and that maybe you just don't have to recruit an 8-year-old?
I just think that's just kind of the way DATS works. Like, oh, you have compatible Digivolve, you have to work here.
Yeah, that's illegal. You can't make people work if they're 8.
Apparently you just can if you're DATS.
I think the problem with this is they haven't given any thought whatsoever. And I think it applies exactly to the scene we were just arguing about. They haven't given any thought to, does this make any sense? And they've just said, okay, what's drama? Let's go. And they've made this whole thing, oh, you have to be separated forever, but also maybe you have to be working at DATS forever. I don't know, something dramatic, where there are just so many options that aren't what they're talking about.
I just think that DATS is just implied by this episode to be incredibly evil.
I think that's only as a result of the writers being like, oh, hey, drama is important right now. Because
Or
otherwise,
like, at least questionable.
DATS is just full of people who really like snacks and are annoyed they didn't get to eat any.
Well, that's what we've seen so far, but I still think that may be what they're implying.
I mean, you've seen the show before. I guess you would know.
I don't remember much about it.
Okay, you'd know if the big organization ended up being evil.
And if I did know, I wouldn't tell you.
Fair enough.
Back in Masaru's house, we see Chica and Piyomon are hanging out, and Chica says that she wants Piyomon to stay there with her forever. Piyomon says that no matter what happens, he'll be with her always. Chica holds onto Piyomon's claw, but it hurts because of course it does, because it's a claw of a big giant bird. And Piyomon grabs on and that hurts her and she's really upset. I'm like, well, are you surprised? Like, let's be real here, kid. Masaru comes in and asks Chica and Piyomon to step outside for a bit. Then we see that Masaru is telling Piyomon to go back to the Diddle World, and he says if he says no, he'll make him go back by force. They start fighting, and Masaru says it's a fight between men. She's always about a fight. If any fight that Masaru is near, it's a fight between men. Even if it's 2 women, it's a fight between men.
Yeah, it's not even really a fight. He kicks the hell out of this bird.
Yeah.
It's super unfair.
And Piyomon keeps on saying, look, I made a promise to stay with Chica. I made this promise. I must always stay with Chica. Agumon stops Chica from stopping them fighting, and Agumon says how Masaru's fists are crying too, because he doesn't want to fight.
That's dumb.
But he wants to protect her, and he has no choice.
Although, I would have liked if he said, look, his Digisoul isn't activated, that means he's not enjoying this fight.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
In the dub, instead of saying how his fists are crying, Agumon says that his boss likes Piyomon, but basically everything else
He
in that
likes
line
punching him more.
Piyomon punches Masaru in the face, and Masaru's nose starts bleeding, which of course is edited out in the dub.
More importantly, though, he gets punched full force in the face, does not move. Is totally, like, just rock solid.
Yeah.
He's a god. It's super unfair.
Well, to be fair, he does say at the start that he's trained to become the ultimate fighter.
It's true. But, when in shonen shows, when they say that, like, I'm going to be the best at whatever, it usually means they're the worst at it, and they're trying to be better. But because he's not actually in, like, UFC stuff, he just is the best and just doesn't have time to show everyone that he's the best. Oh, no,
he's great. I love Masaru. In the dub, he says that it didn't hurt at all. But in the original, he says that how can you expect to protect Chica with puny fists like that? And then he fights him more. I'm like, yeah. Masaru punches him and then gets him Digisoul, and then says that he'll send Piyomon back to the digital world where he belongs. And he tells Agumon to evolve. And he's about to evolve, but Falcomon shows up and wants to bring Piyomon home. Falcomon blames Chica for making Piyomon strange, and then he starts attacking Chica. And then we get a quite heavy amount of clips edited out of this scene in the dub, because he's basically trying to murder an 8-year-old, and we're basically just cut straight to the bit with Piyomon basically tackling her to the ground to get her out of the way. In the original, it's just her screaming and having all these knives being thrown at her, and it's kind of scary.
You get scared by a lot of stuff, huh?
To be fair, I would too. A strange bird just appeared, is talking, and is firing shurikens at me, which will kill me.
I feel like I'd be too busy laughing.
You laugh at everything. You have strange reactions to things.
Yeah.
Yoshino and Toma show up and evolve their Digimon, and Sunflowmon does nothing and is trying to attack Falcomon, and this scene was probably funnier than it was meant to be, because she goes, sunshine, oh, as Falcomon moves away and doesn't complete the sentence, and surely she'd try something else besides the same attack. Oh.
It does make Sunflowmon / not Sunflowdramon It makes Something look crap, doesn't it?
Yeah, a bit
It
weak.
looks super weak. It's like, not only can you not hit it with your attack, you can't even say the name of your attack and get the attack out before they've already dodged it.
Yeah. Piyomon wants to handle it and save Chika, and then she turns to Masaru. Well, it's really hard to say Piyomon as a he, sorry.
I know, right?
And he uses Masaru's name without honorifics, and Masaru says, hey, where's my honorifics?
Dude, uncool.
In the dub, it's obviously not mentioned,
Yeah.
but he's mainly just saying, hey, what do you want?
It'd be funny if he's like, call me boss.
Yeah, that would be great, though.
I'm
And
hiring you, new employee.
so Piyomon tells Masaru to get on his back, and then Masaru gets on his back, and then he's able to punch Falcomon because he jumped off, which I don't understand why Falcomon wasn't able to move out of the way this time, but alright, it's a cool scene. And there's this scene which is sort of like, but I don't want to fight you. I'm like, yeah, but we do. And there's this that cliche scene, and I thought it was pretty cool.
Let's do a fight.
Agumon evolves, but lightning cancels Geogremon's attack, and a Digimon signal appears as Marukimon, an ultimate level, shows up. Satsuma tells him to leave, but Masaru will fight because he's Masaru,
Just like, no, I'm gonna punch it. Wah!
and he says it's because he's an ultimate fighter, so he can do this.
So he fights ultimates. I get it.
In the dub, he says it's because he's a true champion.
He's the ultimate fighter.
And the
Whoa.
episode ends. What do you think of both these episodes as someone who is new to Digimon?
I actually like the first one more. I feel like the second one it really felt like the script was bashing me in the head. But totally made up for by the ending when he fights a big bird.
Yeah.
And then he rides the bird to punch another bird. Oh my god, what an ending.
And at the end, he goes to punch an ultimate level
Oh,
Digimon.
Masaru is the best.
See, I like both these episodes. I think I enjoyed the second episode more. And I really did like the sort of cute scenes with Puamon that we got before everything went a bit scary. I thought that the scary scene with Dats was horrifying, even if you've explained that it makes no sense. If you don't think about that, it is still scary.
I just think the structure of the second episode was awful.
I guess you could say that, but I still found it enjoyable.
It just feels a lot like you're watching The Room and they're in tuxedos on the roof playing football and you're like, why? How did this happen? And the answer is they just wanted to have this scene. It doesn't matter.
So how'd you rate this, both these episodes individually?
7 and 6.
See, I gave it the opposite. I gave it a 6 and a 7.
Oh, controversy.
Yeah, but I guess, like, after speaking to it, I guess the second episode has more problems.
Yeah, I think so.
Like, after
First one's consistent.
After actually talking about it and going through all the problems that the second episode has, I'm just kind of like, actually, the first episode was fine.
I love that I got to do it twice. Whereas, like, what about this though? And you're like, this is ruined now.
Yeah, and that's really sad because I really, really like the second.
Favorite.
My initial opinions of the second episode, it was really good, but whenever you point out issues, it's kind of like a no.
Oh no, that sucks.
No.
Sorry. No.
But I really did like the scenes with Puamon being fed
Sure,
from
I
a
know.
bottle, and I really like Falcomon. I don't know why I like Falcomon. He's great looking. I love him. I don't like any of his evolution spoilers. I know I like one of his evolutions, at least. No, I don't. Yeah, I only like one of his evolutions. I don't like emus. Anyway, so how did both these episodes compare to what you thought of Obnoxious Synopsis? Because I'd like to point out that the Obnoxious Synopsis predictions for the second episode seemed like you were watching me watch Digimon.
What?
Because you mentioned, I think a Gotsumon will show up with a big evil throne.
I did see you
Yeah.
too. I did see you watching
Because I was watching
Digimon.
Digimon and I said, don't look at me.
And when you said that, I looked because, like, that's what people do. Don't think of a pink elephant, right? You can't stop me. So yeah, I was totally right with that prediction because I knew it.
You cheated, that's why.
Well, you gave me the cheating materials. If you want me to take this exam legit, then don't give me the answers. Unfair. So Evilmon would do something vile. Wow. I thought it had something to do with the mom and kid's relationship. I didn't think it'd be a random new kid would be involved. But you know what? I should have known. The boxing episode was the same.
Yeah.
So was the music episode. You just keep throwing in these random characters who they've even kind of designed.
Yeah.
And then they've got one story and it goes away forever. And then the second one, yeah, I just totally cheated. It was really funny.
Yeah.
And okay, the one thing I couldn't have really known, and I think was amazing, is like an uncooked omelet falls from the sky because they want to
Because they
turn it
make
into
the
fried
fried
egg.
eggs, yeah.
I'm really smart.
I'm surprised you didn't link how they mentioned both Chika and Piyomon. I thought you would have said, oh, she becomes a chosen child.
Probably should have mentioned that. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm surprised you didn't mention that.
So yeah, that was episodes.
What was the major difference between the Japanese and the English version of both these episodes?
The one I noticed in the first one was that when the dad goes off the first time, and in the Japanese they say, "No, that's the money for the bills." In English, the guy goes, "Oh, that's so weird. My dad's never been to the track in his whole life."
Yeah.
I got the impression that the reason, especially in the Japanese, the reason he was in debt with the mob is because he's got a gambling addiction. It's just what he does.
Yeah, and
but he's never been gambling his entire life.
yeah, the son in the original seems very sort of like, oh, he's going to gamble. Like, he seems knowing of this, and he doesn't seem shocked by it. He's just like, oh, he's going off to gamble, I guess.
And in the second one, it has to be just Piyomon's voice. Like, I know they're a boy in both, but it's the voice is so striking.
No, I see.
And I know there's a lot of scenes removed and stuff, and they're all very important, but just like the moment Piyomon talked, my eyes were open, like, whoa, something's up.
Yeah, well, to be fair, it's a boy in Savers and Data Squad.
Also, now that we've talked about it, Mercurymon is a much more significant change to Marukimon,
which is his dub name.
It's a lot more significant than most just Digimon name changes.
Yeah. My changes were, in the first episode, the father appears to be under a spell in the dub. He's not under a spell. He's been getting visions of the winning numbers on the horses. And him being horrible in general to his son and to everyone is just part of his own personality. It's not because he was under a spell. And in the dub, he says, oh, it was all because I was under a spell. Like, he blames his bad behavior on being under a spell. In the original, he seems to be kind of like a bit of a dodgy dude who had a gambling problem and was awful to people.
Because that's what he was. And then, and that is the reason, like, that's how you say the 7 deadly sins bit, right?
Yeah.
He already had that greed and already had that need to win, and that was what attracted the Digimon to him. If he was just a fine normal dude who had money problems,
he would have kept the shop open.
Yeah, and then the Digimon would never have showed up.
Yeah,
that's the whole point. And also Falcomon showed up for no reason whatsoever in that episode where they told you the reason they show up. What a great show.
Another change I noticed, besides the no mention of gambling or having a gambling problem, was that Connor doesn't want to own the store and he doesn't want to take over. He just wants to work alongside his dad. And he also doesn't seem as passionate as he is in the original version.
I think it's because Japanese is a very passionate language.
No, he just, like, when he describes it, he's like, oh yeah, the people like birds, I guess. Instead of explaining, oh, this is how you make manju and you do it like this and then you do it like this. And he seems so passionate. And as a result, in the dub, I cared less about him. Because I'm like, he's not driven by his dream. And his dream, like, I want to work alongside my dad and I want to take over and run the family business by myself. Like, that's a different thing. In the second episode, there weren't that many changes, I guess. There was a lot of cut footage because violence is bad in a show about punching Digimon. So I guess that was my main change.
Oh my god, how bad would the English be if they cut out all, like, the impacts of him punching the Digimon every time?
It would be a much shorter show.
That'd be so fun.
You'd like it less, though.
I would, but it would be, like, really... No, because I got to see it in Japanese, at least.
Yeah, but it'd be a worse show in the dub, I mean. So here's the most important question. Has Gotsumon ever been, he's always been in a season of Digimon, right? He's even in Tamers, like, he's one of Ice Devimon's frozen dudes.
Pretty much.
He's been in every single season.
I just don't care about it.
I know, I just found it weird that we have this Digimon that's just in every single season of Digimon as a character, except for Tamers, where he just sort of... His only non-speaking role is in Tamers, but he's been in every season of Digimon as a speaking role, except for Tamers. I know, I found that interesting. Did you find that interesting? I don't find it
interesting at all, sorry.
I noticed it, and I was like, oh yes, I have to investigate this now. Do you have any predictions of the plot that we're being introduced to?
No, I don't understand what this dude is at all. He probably wants to take over the world, though, I guess.
Who or what do you think Keenan/Ikuto is?
I don't know. What was the context he was brought up in again?
Marukimon is asking what Ikuto's doing.
Maybe it's his Digisoul partner? That'd be weird.
Marukimon's partner?
I guess.
How old do you think Ikuto is?
How old is Yoshi?
18.
That old. Oh, wait, she's only 1 year... No, she's older than Tai. No, he's like... Oh, God, Digimon's weird with ages.
Yeah. What are your thoughts about how terrifying Dats can be? Because it was terrifying to me.
I don't think it's an accurate depiction of Dats. I think that it's done by the script to get a particular emotional reaction without being accurate to how the organization functions. So I think it's lies, is what I'm trying to tell you.
See, I think it was rather horrifying to be shown in a kid's show.
I know that you feel that way, but I don't think it's I don't think it's legit.
Also, the scene where Masaru says, Yoshino, how's this? And Yoshino's she's accepted it. She says, yeah, well, this is something we have to do. And she's completely accepting of it, and it's completely different. And also, this whole scene is a big tone change from, hey, look, a baby Digimon, let's feed him, and oh, look, Agumon is jealous. It's a bit of a tone change.
Yeah, I totally get that. I just think that the thing that they're, like, advancing, this plot, is just stupid. I don't agree with the idea of, you know what, this 8-year-old will have to work here. Just whatever. You've controlled Digimon before. before. It's fine.
Do you have any theories about why Sayuri knows Satsuma?
Because her husband worked for DATS, and she's been aware of DATS for ages. And for whatever reason, she's decided not to tell her son about the stories, even though DATS probably got her husband killed, like by proxy, because he was like lost in the digital world on the job, and they just assume he died.
Lost in digital world, Mon.
In fact, I would be willing to guess that like him going to the digital world and getting lost and whatever is the reason you're all forbidden from going to the digital world usually now. And it's probably like, oh, we used to go back and forth all the time until.
Also, what I noticed in this episode is that we don't actually know Sayuri's occupation, and as I mentioned earlier, she appears to be doing quite well financially as a single parent with 2 children.
Yeah, because she's living on a government pension after her husband was killed by a government agency.
Unless she only has enough money because all she cooks are fried eggs.
That's not true, though. We know that there's more at the table than that.
Also, what if Digimon can honestly only actually eat Digimon food, and by Digimon food we mean eggs that are from Digimon?
He ate manju.
Okay, that too. He got very sick afterwards. He's
No,
manju
he didn't.
intolerant.
That's not
no,
true.
he didn't.
That's really like everything you just said was wrong.
Also, what if Masaru collected Digimon partners and they became his partner after befriending them and impressing them with punching?
That'd be funny. I'd like that. But also, I don't know. I guess it would get out of hand eventually.
My screenshot of the week this week was Agumon asking if America is tasty. I don't know. I really like the scene. His face is just so cute. I love him.
He's so excited. Mine is doing a giant uppercut to a bird.
It's really cool. And also, like, this has never happened in any other Digimon season. Any other Digimon season, he would say, okay, Agumon is fighting for me.
Yeah, like... It's always just you're fighting by proxy, but no, Masaru is like, hey, Agumon, you just sit back, and I got this.
Yeah, he's like, don't worry, I got this, fam. It'll be lit.
I'll beat up anybody.
There were some Digimon introduced this episode. First of all, we have Puchan, or Puamon, I guess.
It's a baby Hawkmon.
It's so cute. Falcomon? Don't say an owl.
It's weird. It's an owl. It's just an owl.
And what about Marukimon? I like his colours. He's blue and green.
It's a complicated design. I'll need to see it more.
He is coloured like a friend.
Well, it shouldn't be.
Any other thoughts about these Digimon designs?
I'm tired. Is that a thought?
Alright, on to Postmon Pat. For Postmon Pat this week, first up, our weekly poll was, should Hayase have forfeited and not boxed in his final boxing match like Harris did? Jay will, as always, read the comments we got, and probably all the rest of Postmon Pat, because I'm actually having a really sore throat at the moment and don't know how much longer I can talk for. So, Jay, without further ado.
We got one from Vincent, who says, I think that Hayase deciding to actually fight was a lot more interesting than him just forfeiting. It showed that he had actual pride in his career and was willing to compete his final match despite having no chance of winning. I feel that forfeiting actually takes a lot away from his character. SHF20 says, I voted no, but it really depends on how the fight would have played out. Would have written one of 2 scenarios. Hayase suffering an injury, but powering through, or the fight is too much for him and he loses brutally. Wow. Anime Guy says, they said yes, he should have. Who knows what could happen during the boxing match. Sure, he could get out with at least a migraine, but he could die during the match. And Chuckman says, yes, he dropped out of the final match out of respect for the sport since he got his current place illegitimately. But in the end, it doesn't really matter because Masaru would win and become king of the world. Aniki!
Yay! This poll got 14 votes and it was a tie. So Jay...
There are no results then.
So Jay, what do you think?
Let's see. If I was him, I would have boxed the match.
Yes, I would have too. And I voted yes. So that's why I let Jay decide the end result, because I would have said yes because his daughter, he needed to show his daughter what him fighting clean was. And while he might have gotten injured, I think that was what was important. And the moral of the episode is how important his family is to him. And it's also how important boxing is to him, but his family is more important than that. And he wants to show his daughter the sport he loves and what's it like for him to box clean.
She's like, damn it, I should have helped.
Yeah, and then he dies tragically.
And like, Saritori, whatever, is the chef dad, is in the audience like, yeah, woo, holding his like betting tickets up in the air.
Oh, could you imagine if he was actually in the background?
That'd been strong.
And be like, oh, he actually does have a gambling problem.
Yeah, and he looks all sad because like he failed his bet in the first thing.
Yeah, and he has like, and we see like the Yakuza roughing him up outside in the
wow,
background.
how much setup do you want? Like, it's just
know.
the next episode. So we have letters?
Yeah, so you can
we
go
have
on
one
to
With the Will from McGann, who says, Marcus trying to fight a boat, was hilarious. hilarious. It reminded them of a scene from Metal Gear Solid 4 with another character voiced by Quentin Flynn.
And it's and then McGann links a picture of Raiden trying like near a boat, and it's very much like Marcus trying to fight the boat.
Yeah, it's I think it's Raiden.
Yeah, because it's the same voice actor in the
God,
dub.
I remember that. I had forgotten that happened. Metal Gear Solid 4 was awesome. Chuckmon says they liked the story in episode 9 because it gave us a look at a DAT's investigation. The fake out with the coach and the reveal with the daughter was pretty good. And in episode 10, Chica was cute and Masaru was a good brother. Masaru slipping on the banana peel and sandwich signboard was funny. They thought that the delivery of Toma saying that Digimon may respond to human thoughts and feelings was based on the last several episodes was fair. The filler episodes were kind of laying that groundwork. And as far as Atmon 46, they said they loved how Astra was the only one at the temple who got to keep his hair. They're still really liking these filler episodes, but they're also assuming that the series is going into a season 2. With only 4 to 6 episodes left for the season, if it takes a quick, unsatisfying end, they'll have different opinions about the filler episodes. They're really excited about next week's reveal of Eugen, which we've already talked about.
Because we wanted to cover it early so we didn't get spoiled, and we did, and it's coming out normal day. But it's already out for Patreon
There's kind of a discussion about it, which I might skip in case people haven't seen Atmon yet.
Yeah.
And then they said they totally loved the Atmon Data Lab ending with Gatchmon, which, and they said they're very ready to find out what's going on with him. And that's great, because they set that up, they sort of set that stuff up in episode 1, so it wasn't the biggest spoiler in the world that something's up. In V-Tamers 01 Disc 5, they say that they think more violence in the manga version of a story is pretty typical. There's far less if you can get away with on TV, so anime tends to be much tamer than the in-print version counterpart. The epic battle is coming. Omegamon, are Royal Knights ever fighting in the right, or is that just the legend they're known for?
So I think it's very much that thing that we've noticed happening in basically every Digimon season of, oh, don't worry, that Digimon's a good Digimon. Oh no, why is he attacking us?
It kills me though. They're like, Royal Knights, they're meant to be good. It doesn't mean anything to the audience when you say that if we've never seen them being good before. I still stand by my statement of how to of rewriting Frontier, that the opening of the show should show the Royal Knights being awesome and really, really great and saving people and being like super, like just great. If they are the reason that you have hope in the fight, they should be the reason you have despair later. Yeah. So we got one from on Gmail from Embermoto. Hello, Embermoto. Do. They say that poor Christy wanted Thomas to like her, but doesn't want to embarrass herself by being impolite and is so scared she can't eat. Marcus is the opposite and just goes for it. They love how Marcus tries to make Christy feel better even if it doesn't work. His heart's in the right place. And why are they only now trying to find out why Digimon are coming to the real world and why they bond with certain people? Shouldn't these people be recruited by DATs? It's true, that should be DATs' objective. In fact, if there are experts in America who know about this stuff, isn't there a DATs in America who'd be talking to that guy already?
Yeah, I feel like this is something they should have been 100% hunting out, like, because their goal is to be successful, and surely if they hired lots of DATS members, they would be successful in removing these Digimon issues that they were having.
In fact, more importantly, now that I think about it, what was Toma doing in America? Can you summarize it to me in like one sentence?
He was looking out a dirty old window, watching the cars in the city go rushing by. He sat there.
Can you really do it in one sentence? What was he doing?
Research.
What does that mean?
Research.
No, what does that mean?
He was researching.
How?
Science.
Come on, mate. Be serious.
Okay, so he was trying to find if there was any reason for why Digimon are flocking there. So he was going to this professor who studied emotions and Digimon also, I guess.
Has he ever heard of a phone?
I think he actually wanted to see the big quarantine machine that they brought over to Japan for some reason.
Which we found out doesn't mean anything. Whatever. We got one from AR Pulver who says that listening to our review of the second Try movie, and they do have an answer for me about knowing things in advance.
Yeah, because you just straight up ask questions to people. Like, say, hey, person, I have a question. And I have AR Pulver on Facebook. And
What was my question? I don't remember.
I can't remember either, but I know that AR Pulver's Facebook status was, have you ever been in a situation where you listen to a podcast and one of the hosts asks you a question by name?
Oh, okay, no, wait a second. I think it was that I should ask them to ask Jeff Nimoy about, like, knowing how much translation they knew in advance. They said that Adventure and Zero Two were both localized while the shows were still on air in Japan, so the writers for the dub did not have advanced knowledge about future plot elements. Nimoy did say the real-world episodes did force the dub to acknowledge the kids were Japanese, and that this is somewhat begrudging. I was right!
Yeah.
I was right! I can't believe it.
Well, that's actually why.
That's so funny.
But Jay, that's why Tailmon was given the name Gatomon, because they thought that he was a boy, and then they realized that it's sort of she has kind of this relationship with Wizarmon. Later on, was kind of like, oh, that's actually a girl. Whoops! Despite Gatomon actually, like Gato actually referring to a male cat. I'm pretty sure.
I'm dying. They say as far as advanced knowledge goes, it's interesting to note that Data Squad aired a couple of years after Savers, which means that Nemo did watch all of Savers ahead of the dub and was able to write accordingly. It's something that we should keep in mind. Oh, I can't believe it. Because I just did an impression on Adventure, right? It's just like, oh, this is strange. I love the idea of Nemo being like, yeah, that was crap. When we found out, because he didn't know. Sorry, it's really funny. We got from Kyle. Thank you so much, AR Paul, for this. Made my night. It's so funny.
You have just given Jay purpose for doing this podcast.
I still need to talk to the actual main head writer of Frontier, who probably just speaks Japanese and probably doesn't want to talk about Frontier.
Why just learn Japanese, Jay?
Just gosh. What were you thinking? How did all these elements happen?
Do you realize it's a kid show, right?
Yeah, sure. That'd be the most disappointing answer in the world. It's the worst. Just like, why did you book it this way, Triple H? You know wrestling's not real. Damn it, man. We got one from Kyle Lone, who says, people back when Savers was released were angry that Piyomon was male. Piyomon should have worn a blue band around his ankle.
People keep on referencing my fanfic a lot.
It's really funny. And what do you guys think about the implication that so far only Agumon, Lalamon, Galmon, and the Pawn Chessmon, and now Piyomon, came to the human world as eggs and hatched there, and that's apparent practice of specifically partnering such human world-born Digimon up with humans.
What about Kudamon? That's my main question.
I think that might be a setup for a great twist where the captain is actually evil, because if Kudamon was attracted to one of the deadly sins and is latched onto him, maybe the leadership of Dats is evil. Maybe you're right. It's probably not, though.
Which of the 7 deadly sins do you think Satsuma would be?
Praido.
Okay, I guess that fits.
I mean, I'm just thinking of Full Metal Alchemist.
Also, I thought Pride wouldn't that be the boxing one?
So you can have multiple people who have pride.
So which of the 7 deadly sins have we met so far? So we have greed.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember all the ones we've had. We've had
greed a bunch of times.
I mean, I think everything's greed.
It's mostly greed. I think that you're right with the boxing one is pride, because it's of the dad.
I can legitimately not remember any of the other episodes. This is a problem.
The Drillmon came in because of greed, because of money.
Oh, that was greed, yeah.
And
no, that might have been lust, because lust can also be for money.
No, it can't.
I think
the 7 deadly sins, lust is for sex.
It's a PG-rated lust.
No, it's not. It's just greed. That's what it's called. It's called greed.
It's G-rated lust.
Yeah, no, G for greed.
Woofs.
And also with the musician, his was also pride and greed, because he thought he was the best musician and he wanted more money. It's just pride and greed. There's only 2 deadly sins.
Could also be one of the greeds could also be gluttony.
Yeah, that's eating.
Which one's sloth?
Sloth is being...
Agumon.
No, he's gluttony.
Yeah, he's gluttony, yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, we got one on Tumblr from an Anonymon who says, do you think the vague homoeroticism in the Atmon is regarding Eugene is intentional? I'm already going to tell you no, it's really not. Or it's just something that people are reading into too much. Absolutely.
I hope it is, and with any other Digimon season, I'd say, yeah, it's just people reading into it too much. But since we had background characters who are actually canon lesbians, I think that it is possible that it is vaguely romantic between Eugene and Haru, but they could just also be really good friends.
I think they're 12-year-old boys.
They're 14.
They're 14-year-old boys. Let's not. Even if it's
Jay, you are speaking as a straight person. 14-year-old people know 100% what they're into already.
Oh, you're probably right. They're not 12.
Or if they live in a sheltered community, they might not at the moment, but they might have. You have an inkling when you're 14.
You know what? You might be right. I don't know. I don't have any skin in this game.
I don't think Haru is gay. I think he is possibly bisexual pan.
You know what? I'm totally
in
wrong. If Eugene was a girl and they had all these tensions and stuff, then I'd be like, that's fine. No, you were right. I'm off base on this.
You're just being a straight person.
Now I'm trying to think if that is actually, if there are, what's it called? What was it described as? If there was vague homoeroticism.
I wouldn't say eroticism is the right word, because I don't think it is. It's not sexual love.
I don't think
if there is anything between them, it is romantic. I don't think doesn't homoeroticism usually imply something that's a bit more R-rated?
sexual in nature. But
Yeah.
like, I think that if you could see it at all, it was in Yujin only, because I don't think that Haru is capable of that because he's too innocent. He doesn't feel it. He's just like, he's my best friend.
Well, we know
he's
that-
my best friend in the world.
So we know that he's interested in Ai.
Yeah, I mean,
Seems to be.
They
He
have
does-
like, what, in episode 2?
He does the blushy.
Yeah, sure.
But in the manga, he also like daydreams about Yujin and says, Yujin's my number one and most important thing. You don't like I guess I would say that my friends are important.
It's just a setup for the twist.
But like
man.
most important thing, I'm just kind of like,
Whatever.
Look, what I'm saying is, I don't think it's people reading too much into it. I think it is.
I think it might be a little bit.
No, because it's there seems to be something going on there, and even if it's not intentional, it's not something that looks like it needs to be heavily read into to be noticed. It is something that is sort of hits you in the face. I hope there is something there, and as I said, since we were shown actual canon lesbian couples of, oh yes, my partner has arrived, and they're two girls talking about each other and loving each other, and that is
Sure.
really sweet and surprising in a Digimon anime series, and it's kind of fantastic actually. I hope, like, it's not impossible that this happened.
Sure.
I don't think Yamato and Taichi have ever had anything. I know a lot of people ship that. I don't think that was intentional.
That's nonsense. They hate each other.
Especially in Venture, I don't think that was intentional, but a lot of people ship that. I think Yujin and Haru has a higher chance of being intentional than Yamato and Taichi.
Sure. Speaking of Atmon.
But seriously, ship whatever you ship. Like, it's up to you. But I'm just saying that this is how I feel about it.
Unless you ship Futaba with anyone, in that case you're a monster.
I ship Futaba with being a gremlin.
Is it Sporky who hates that? Or is it
Yeah,
Garrett?
I think it might be Sporky. I can't remember. It's either Sporky or Garrett.
It's just like, you monsters never date Futaba, you crazy person. So we got from IRL Yuya about Atmon, who says, where the filler isn't even filler, and even without the parts that made it not filler, it's a good episode. And about battle damage, they have this whole thing about how, like, in JoJo, when the stands take damage, the people take damage, and this stand had a tail and it got hurt, and then the person got hurt. And my only response to you is, like, the relationship between a stand and a person is not the same as between a Digimon and a totally different Digimon it happens to de-evolve into, because it totally deforms into data and then reforms. That's what that white flash is. It is not the same at all as a representation of yourself being hit. So sure, I appreciate the metaphor, but I simply disagree. We got another Anonymon who says that they just found our podcast and it's amazing. They wanted to correct one thing we said during one of the adventure ones, which apparently was in 2015, so maybe we've already been corrected, about the Brazilian dub not keeping the Japanese OST. They actually did keep it. The opening of Adventure is the only difference. They have all the background score, Braveheart, and they even had a translated version of I Wish. And we got one from Ellie Vorg who says they were kind of surprised that Jay wasn't going to believe the Digimon acting on human emotions thing until Satsuma agreed with Thomas' theory. To me, it's pretty clearly hinted at for a while now, except that Falcomon just randomly shows up at a portal for no reason. Not only with Neon and Manami, and obviously Chika herself in episode 10, but even the kid back in episode 2 who didn't want to look after the animals was a hint towards this. I assume that he didn't want to look after the animals because he was taken over already, and that was random. It's hard to say.
Which of the sins is that? Is that Sloth?
Sloth? Maybe. Like, that's the nature of there being 7 of them, is they're all being really diverse. Like, anything bad is related to one of them. You can also spot this being the case for the Digimon who don't work directly with humans. The Petite Merimon appeared and started burning stuff after some guys were moaning that things were too boring. Oh, come on, what sin is saying stuff is boring? And the Elecmon messed with the traffic lights in response to a couple of people being frustrated that they weren't changing fast enough. Impatience? I also believe that some, though admittedly not all, of the moments where the Digimon randomly grew or evolved for seemingly no reason were induced by an outburst of emotion from humans they were connected to. That said, this link between Digimon and human emotions is much less clear in the dub with the way that Digimon's dialogue was written there, so perhaps that's why Jay didn't pick up on it. I mean, yeah, the only intense emotion that Dromojimon was feeling from the people who summoned him was fear, because they were afraid of it, so it's complicated. I don't know. They can completely see where I'm coming from and sympathize about the early filler in Savers. That said, they still enjoy the beginning of Savers more than the beginning of any other Digimon season. Probably because Masaru is just so goddamn entertaining, and they're happy to watch episodes of him punching things. In the first 10-ish episodes of previous seasons, they just weren't invested in the characters from the beginning, and even though in most cases there was some semblance of a plot from the start, it was pretty generic. Here's a villain, go defeat the villain type of plot that just didn't hold their interest very much. That's why you gotta have a plot that's interesting.
That makes sense. But why would you want to do that, right?
I don't know. That takes probably effort.
I mean, Frontier managed to not. I mean, nah. I like some of Frontier. Is that all, Postmon Pat?
We're done. Alright everybody, join us for the next episode of The Disappearance of Nagata Yuki-chan, entitled The Rise of Rise Greymon.
Or Masaru's new power. Evolve, Rise Greymon!
And The Wild Boy of the Digital World.
Or Digimon Boy Akuto, Forest Guardian Juraimon. Yeah, we're seeing a Cherrymon in a forest again because that worked out so well last time.
Yay. Evil mustache tree.
Weekly Wonders this week. I know I said it about a year ago, but I'm saying it again. No Man's Sky is probably one of my favorite games.
You can't reuse them.
No, you've reused them.
You've told me not to.
No, you've
told me not
you've
to.
You've reused them. I'm saying it. You can reuse Weekly Wonders when they're not, the following week. Because I think once you tried to use the same Weekly Wonder that you used the week before.
Maybe.
It's been like a year. You can reuse them.
Whatever, go, do
so
your thing.
No Man's Sky had an update. Also, I'm pretty sure I recommend Pokemon Go a few times too. So No Man's Sky had a new update for its anniversary, and it's added a bunch of new features, including like almost co-op mode. But I don't care about co-op mode because I like fake multiplayer. I don't actually like to interact with people. I just like the idea that people are there. So it's like, oh yeah, they're just very far away. I really like No Man's Sky. I think it's one of the best games I've ever played. Everyone in the world hates it. I also really like Destiny. I have weird tastes in video games. I always like what people don't like.
You know what you like? You like games that were really overhyped and didn't deliver because you don't care. Like, what bothers everyone about those games is not that they are bad games, right? Those games are fine. It's that those games promised the moon and delivered like a rock.
Well,
and you love this rock.
Well, Pokemon Sun and Moon promised the sun and moon and just delivered a bad game.
I don't agree.
And I was overhyped. Oh, to be fair, I was overhyped at that game and I didn't like it. I've written literal essays about why the game is bad.
Where did you write little essays about it?
I sent it to Sasha and I sent it to, I think, in the Slack. I'll send it to you as well. I
don't want you to. I'm just interested. What is it? 2,000 words? 3,000? How many references have you got?
I think it was about 1,000 words.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
I was joking.
I have very complex thoughts about why these games are bad from someone who has majored in games development and design. It's a bad game.
Sure.
It tries far too hard. It's just trying to reinvent the wheel. It has a lot of issues, but this isn't my let's complain about this game, because the thing is, maybe I'm in the minority of not liking that game. Anyway, No Man's Sky is great. I love No Man's Sky. I suggest you pick it up. It's probably cheaper now because it's been out for a year. It has the anniversary update. They've also added the ability to build bases. I really like this game. It's really fun. It's really chill. If you need a game that will help you relax, I suggest you get No Man's Sky because it is just so relaxing. It is so pretty and it's really fun. I really like it. So that's my weekly wonder. I'm suggesting something I've suggested a year ago, but it's even better than now. It's a good game. Jay, what's yours?
Mine is I started watching Westworld. Westworld's a great show. It's about I don't want to call it a theme park. It's about a big area of like a western town or whatever, but it's all made up of robots, and tourists go in and they dress up as cowboys and they kind of laugh the whole time, but then they shoot the hell out of all the robots and they have a great time.
They have like those kind of things in America, don't they? They have those little this is all I know from American TV, right? They have those little like western mock-up setups and you walk around them and you go there with your school and stuff, and there's like really bad like animatronic wax figure dudes standing there and talking. It's weird.
Yeah, but in this one the robots are indistinguishable from people.
Yeah. I know that from Westworld. That's about it.
And like it's a whole thing, and it's a show that's really about like what is it to be human, and like how if you cannot tell the difference between the humans and the robots in this place, then why is it that you feel okay shooting everybody and acting on all your baser impulses? Because that's what people do, right? They go in to be a tourist and just shoot people and have sex a lot, and then like the robots sort of begin to develop identities outside of what they should be doing because they're programmed to retain memories, which was a mistake. It's episode 1. It's a good show. You should watch it.
Oh, I'll give it a go. Like, I'll consider
It's
it.
only 10 episodes long.
I have so many things to watch. I need to get up to date with Game of Thrones, TBH.
Absolutely.
AF. So yeah, No Man's Sky and Westworld. Check it out. The link dump's linked in the description. And this week's weekly poll is, if a Digimon came to you and started to improve your life, but you knew it could be potentially dangerous, would you let them continue? You can find our screenshots of the week and our weekly wonders linked in the description and our link dump. Our Redbubble is also linked in the description, and we have a new design, and you can get more than just shirts there too. You can get mugs. Mugs are great. You can put things in them or not. You can contact us and stay updated. You can email us at LostinTranslationmon@gmail.com, or you can comment on this episode or message us on SoundCloud. You can follow us on @TranslationMon on Twitter, and you can find us on Lost in Translation on Tumblr, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We have a discussion thread on With the Will, and a Reddit thread in the Digimon subreddit, and we'd appreciate if you would review us on iTunes, Stitcher, or whatever podcast listening service you use. We also have a website. You can vote in our weekly poll or check our release schedule out. And you can donate to our Patreon, which is linked in the description, from as little as $1 a month. And that gets you access to a list of Slack chat group. But there are higher levels with more rewards, such as notes, early episodes, and more.
And thank you to our current Patreon supporters, Sam Krieger, who has a podcast called The Moncast, which talks about Pokemon and Digimon, Stevie, who's Stevie Padman on Tumblr and is currently taking commissions, Wuchinglong, who you can find at twitch.tv/Wuchinglong, Metal Mamemon, Joe, Penguin Mage, Anime Guy, who is Anime Guy Kurosaki and the number 1 on YouTube, Chuckmon, Ishpal Bamba, Hiro Olado, who is at Hiro Olado on Twitter, Jason Morosky, Ryuchi, Frost Magic and Archive of Our Own, who is Frost Magic and Archive of Our Own, Stephen Reeves, who is at Wobbling64 on Twitter, Kaidawashi, Mac, Noam, Riku, Chisai, who you can follow at Chisai236 on Tumblr, Corey, Kyle, the Lady Bugman, whose anime blog you can find at bagubaragu.wordpress.com, Small Wolfie, who is on Tapastic as Small Wolfie and has a comic there called Eden the Melancholy, Tom, Glitchcoat, Azra McCool, Nicholas, Gene Hackmon, Matthew, Anthony, who is at AntoClassic on Twitter, Lizmet, who is Elecmon on Tumblr, Sithobi, Ellie Vorg, who is Ellie Vorg on Tumblr, Sporky McForkinspoon, Megan, Kyliek, and Neoboo.
You can also make a one-off donation on our PayPal, which can be found linked in the description. It's paypal.me/Ergemon. Make sure to let us know about the podcast. We'll see you guys next time. Bye!
See ya!